football national champion, Coach Ryan Day, and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Welcome in, Buckeye backers. We are bringing it to you live from Seattle, Washington, to the cornfields of Enid, Ohio. We are the pulse of Buckeye fans across the nation, with Seattle Matt and Buckeye Steve. All right, welcome in, Buckeye backers. What a hell of a day. What a hell of a year to be a Buckeye, man. This is awesome. I mean, it just keeps getting better. Just keeps getting better. Non-stop positivity in Buckeye Nation. I'm going to just bring it up from the start, man. 14 players drafted today. Just look at that. I had a hard time putting all those guys on a graphic. Man, if we got to that record, I was going to be like, where do I put the dudes?
Right.
Just crazy.
Absolutely. I'm just a little sad that we didn't go ahead and get at least 15 with Seth getting drafted.
Yeah, we were all rooting for that. Seth, I mean, geez, like, and right afterwards, the Bengals were like, "Yo, we want you." Like, just draft the dude, man.
Right.
Come on.
Him and G. Scott.
G. Scott, everyone's rooting for G. Scott. You know, he went to the Patriots, so as a free agent, so getting him there, I think, is a great place for him. Vrabel is hard-nosed, and you know he's going to fit in well with Vrabel, right?
Absolutely, but like Vrabel, you knew we were trying to tie the record. Why didn't you just draft him?
Yeah, man. Hey, be there for the Buckeyes, man. You know who you are.
Right?
You're right about that. Vrabel should have done it. Yeah, and Seth got in with the Buckeyes, so or with the Bengals, so we're good there. Just, gosh, man. 14, you're right.
Man, the Bengals
feels like a disappointment. Yeah, they did. Yeah,
that
they
was
did.
and
there must be something going on with his medical, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
There has to be. Like how a Remington Award winner is not drafted. I mean, I know they're not worried about college football awards, but dude, come on. He was the best of the best. And for some reason, centers they don't draw that attention. They don't get drafted as well. Because even, you know, the number 2 center from Texas, I don't even know if he got drafted.
Yeah.
I think he was a free agent,
what was
too.
The biggest shocker to me?
What up?
Quinn Ewers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was wondering why he fell like that. He would have been better off staying a Buckeye. But then we wouldn't have had Will Howard, so I don't know how I feel about that.
Better off staying a Buckeye. Also, there was massive amount of NIL for him to come back, either to go to be a Quack or to come back to Columbus. And he chose this path. I don't know. So for me, I think I was talking to Schrock earlier today. And to me, it's whoever he's surrounded with has been giving him bad information his entire life. He needs to not stop listening to him or get them out of his circle, because first they told him to leave high school early, come to Ohio State. Then they told him to leave Ohio State and go to Texas, where he didn't develop at all, if you ask me. Then they tell him to come back for another year, where he would have actually probably got drafted last year if he would have left. And now they tell him don't stay for the NIL, even though someone was offering him insane Carson Beck numbers, and then you leave and you don't get drafted. Like, at some point, kid, you just have to stop listening to your circle or change your circle, because they're giving you horrible advice.
Yeah, dude was number 1 in all the recruiting rankings, best of the best, and gets drafted at what, 7th round?
He didn't even get drafted.
He didn't get drafted. He was a free agent. Holy
That's
cow,
what I'm saying.
Man, that's wild, dude. Wild. Absolutely right here. Ewers has been a wild ride from the start, man. With that mullet coming into Reichard, getting a big ass truck, and then dude, and then just picking up and leaving right away, man. Only took a handoff once.
And he finally admitted, I came for the NIL money. So all that the rumors about him being
he was
left.
7th round. Miami got him in the 7th.
Okay.
At least according to Will Star. All right. Yeah, but he was waiting, dude. He was waiting for a while.
That's still horrible, man.
Yeah.
They drafted the Louisville quarterback before him, which I think was a mistake by New Orleans.
Yeah. It does go to show you how ridiculously the rating system is for high school players. I mean, and that's hard. I mean, think of the millions of dudes across the nation that are playing football in high school. And dudes coming out of Texas, he can sling it, man. He could sling it in high school.
Man, Doug, I agree with you to a certain extent, but I
Yeah.
think we're
But when
having
you're
a
that high,
completely
yeah.
different conversation if he stayed at Ohio State the whole time. I think last year we won a natty. We probably don't have all these guys come back this past
And
season.
who's
And he
throwing
would
to
have been
Marv?
a top 5 draft pick throwing to our receivers in our scheme. He
Yep.
made a mistake.
And Ryan Day really works on footwork well with quarterbacks. He was a quarterback. I mean,
Yep.
you saw him sling it, man, in spring practices, man. He was putting it on the dot.
Yep.
He wasn't swinging a softball bat too well.
No.
But slinging the ball, he knows how to do it, man.
Have you seen RJ Day?
Yeah.
That kid can sling it. If he was 6'2" or 6'3", he would be in the Ohio State quarterback class.
Oh, for sure. And I think Ryan Day wouldn't take him on principle too, just because, you know, he needs to go somewhere else. He needs to go be developed by someone else, you know.
Yeah, I think
and make it on his own. Well, maybe he would. I don't know. But I just have a feeling that that's kind of his thing. And I mean, speaking of that, for Ryan Day to get out there, dude, after practice and be filming RJ just sitting out there and slinging it in the Woody. I mean, making that time to be a family man. That's pretty sweet, dude. That's pretty sweet.
And he's training them. So RJ's getting the training by the best.
Oh, yeah. Best of the best.
And he was slinging that thing, man.
I love this lunatic fringe, man. Every time someone brings it up, I'm just like, yeah, we have that lunatic fringe. I mean, you don't want it to be as negative as it can be, but
how do you feel about that? Now that you bring that up, about the fan base fringe being crazy.
It's true. Buckeyes are crazy, man.
What's your viewpoint?
Always been crazy.
You
just don't cross the line. Negative? It can be a positive. It can just don't cross that line, man. You don't go, doing harm to anyone, and you don't put threats out there on the internet either. It's just why would you do that?
Yeah, I agree.
We're all bigger and better. I mean, taking sports seriously is awesome, but there's a threshold to cross, and you don't affect anyone else by doing it. Right? That's the only thing. Live by that principle of life, man. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The golden rule, man. It's there for a reason because it makes sense.
And for me, I agree with everything you said 100%. The only caveat I put on it, if you could make it in Ohio State, you could make it in any NFL team, on any NFL team with their fan bases, except maybe the only thing close would be Philadelphia. They have a gel built into their stadium.
Yeah.
But outside of that, even if you go to the New York market or the LA market, it's nothing. You know what I mean? Because there's not a fan base crazier or more demanding and expecting than the Ohio State fan base. Nowhere. So people like to call us crazy. No, we hold our players to a certain standard and a certain expectation. So these players, you come here, you're going to be ready for the NFL in all facets and walks of life. And that's why our players stay in the league for 10 plus years.
Yeah. You can deal with the best of the best. If you come out of Buckeye Nation, the largest beat in the country in any sport, you can deal with any professional team, any pressure anywhere in the nation.
Absolutely. So what did you think about the draft?
I mean, it's as good as can be, right? There was only one negative you can possibly think of, and that negative is we didn't get the record. Yeah. I mean, if that's what you're expecting, that's kind of lunatic fringe itself, right?
Yeah. I mean
we're expecting the best every time. Like, I don't know, man. Like, we're spoiled right now. We're spoiled as a fan base, so
absolutely.
Sometimes we gotta relax and be like, yo, dude, we just had 14 dudes drafted. Those guys are living their dream. You see some of them crying. Like, did you see Will Howard crying with his mom?
Oh yeah, I loved it,
dude. That's awesome.
It meant so much to him.
You just reached the pinnacle. I don't know how I would react.
And Doug, no, I don't think that we're entitled. I think we're demanding. We expect
demanding. Yeah.
And I mean, I was in the military, so like that's what was expected of us, especially during wartime. You're expected to execute. You get a problem, you solve that problem, you execute your mission. And that's how our fan base looks at Ohio State football program. And there's nothing wrong with it. The only time it's something wrong with it is if you're threatening to kill kids or the coach. Outside of that, we should be demanding? Why do you think our program is the best in college football history since World War II? Because the expectations is that high. It's set that high, the standards that high. Anything below it, you're gonna hear about it. And that goes with anything. In your regular jobs, right? There's a standard that you need to maintain to keep that job, to keep providing food for your family. So it's no different. It's not entitled. That's what the Team Up North fan base might say, or outside fan base. You're entitled. No, we have standards and expectations. That's why we're on the top of the threshold, and you're not.
Excellence in everything, my man. Excellence in everything. And that's the only way to live life.
Yep.
But I stole this from Adam King, so got to give him a shout out, give him credit. This is his picture, and this is what he tweeted with that picture. A quarterback, 2 running backs, a wide receiver, 2 offensive linemen, an entire defensive line, a linebacker, a cornerback, and 2 safeties. And that's not, and Ohio State just quite almost tied that record. That's nearly a damn football team, dude.
Yeah.
Our whole football team was almost drafted. And then the ones that did stay are probably the better picks.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. That's absolutely wild.
The only thing
Are we NFLU?
Absolutely. It's us and Bama. There's nobody else in the discussion.
Damn, dude. That, like, we could say wide receiver. That's why it keeps changing every time. Like, all right, we're wide receiver U. Now we used to be linebacker U. We're about to be linebacker U again. Now we're going to be offensive line U with the way Tyler is recruiting. Damn, dude.
So, Steve, this was my thing. So, in recent history is us in Alabama in terms of NFLU, right? But if you go over the long period of history, it's USC, it's Notre Dame, and it's us. There's only one constant throughout the history of college football in the draft, and that's Ohio State University. So, yes, I say we are NFLU. We're NFL Factory. And I think the only position we didn't get drafted during this draft was tight end.
Yeah. And, man, G. Scott, that would have been awesome.
Man, I feel like he should have been. If they would have invited him to the combine, he would have got drafted. He ran the fastest 40 at every single tight end.
Yeah, you got to give that dude some credit. He hung in there. It's like Emeka Egbuka hung in there where he could have been dominant anywhere else if he would have gone. Yep. And that was what, dude, everyone was like, yes, he's got to be first round. And we loved it that he got there. And to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers where Baker Mayfield's doing his thing now, man, it's going to be awesome to see him go. Because just the mentality this team has is absolutely insane. Yeah. Absolutely insane how good these guys are, how good they are mentally and as athletes. It just doesn't get any better. And winning a national title after that mess against Michigan couldn't get any better. The ups and downs of this team were awesome. They stuck in there. They hung with each other. They're all boys. The brotherhood is real. The culture is real. And, man, the NFL talent is real too.
And you just said the key words, in my opinion, of this whole thing and what defines Ohio State football, the Ohio State football, and what separates it from every other program nationally, to include UGA, Bama, your team up north, Texas, Eugene, the Quacks, is culture. No one has a better culture than us. Just look at the fact that we had zero scholarship athletes hit the transfer portal. Zero. Just think about that for a second. That is insane. The only school, I believe, that has done that. And people know they're going to come here and have a war. Talking to recruits, they're like, man, I've never seen a practice so intense in my life. They love it. And the players love each other, and they love the coaching staff. And they know if they're starter here, they're going to the NFL for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, you look at our whole team was drafted pretty much. If you're a starter at Ohio State, you got that shot. You're going to be a free agent pretty much at the very least. At the very least.
Only 3 eligible players that were actually in the draft that put their names in the draft didn't get drafted. And we already know if Seth was healthy, he would have got drafted.
Brandingo, we're going to get there in a second. But yeah, let's do it, man. He throw me off. Squirrel every time, man. I get caught in these rabbit traps. Let's go.
Oh, okay.
Favorite Buckeye to the NFL this year?
It's a fun question. I like this.
Yeah.
You want to go first?
No, you got it. I think you have something with that smile.
No, I'm thinking. I'm looking at.
Well, I got one. I got one. Tyreek
Okay.
Williams for sure. It
Tyreek?
was like I posted a while back. Someone made a video of him and just how he played against Texas, and the way he played in the playoffs, dude. That's why Cody Simon was looking so hot, getting all those tackles, because he was blowing up the line of scrimmage, man. And everyone, no one said he was going to be our first round pick. I reposted. I was like, looks like a first round pick to me. And this was back, in early March, I believe. And then he did, man. He got there. The Lions took him, and wow, man. I wasn't thinking that it was going to happen just because of all the mock drafts that I've read and what everyone was saying. So I was shocked when it went. I wasn't ready for it, I was making these graphics as soon as they came up. So when he went, I was like, oh, scrambling, got to make that one. And
that's fire.
But it was awesome. Yeah. Yeah. It was awesome, man. So Tyreek Williams, shout out to him, man. The way he was blowing up line of scrimmage, taking on double teams and still making tackles. Dude, he was what made that defense stacked. Yeah.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. This is super hard, man. This is my favorite Buckeye team of all time. So for me, I could go Trey Henderson, who I think is the best running back in the draft overall. I could go to Q. I love Cody. Obviously, Captain Jack. You can't go wrong with him. I feel like Jordan Hancock is the best nickel in college, and that was in the draft. Mecca, great leader. My boy JT came all the way over, started something by Chris Henry's next, following in his footsteps. Epi is about to be next. Then how can you not love the hard-hitting Lathan Ransom? And then Donnie Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
We don't win without Donnie Jackson moving from left guard and being versatile. And then Denzel Burke. He had one game where he gave up over 100 yards. And I mean, he was getting cooked by everybody. The entire country was watching. And guess what? He bounced back and had a stellar season. So
Steely. He's right, man. Seth was a first or second round pick. Go for it.
Seth,
get back to that. Yeah.
Seth changed the whole line of scrimmage. Josh Simmons. I think you might have forgot Josh Simmons on this one. Nope, you got him right there. Josh Simmons, a dog. If he doesn't go down in that Oregon game, we beat them. But my heart has to go with what is right, and that's Will Oppenheimer.
All right.
Yeah, Will Howard, just for his leadership. I watched him in the beginning of the season. Me and Dev will be on the phone just yelling angrily. And I'm like, man, he's just going to develop, just chill. And to what he did at the end of the year. And people are bringing up I heard, was it Mel Kiper was talking about how poor he played against the team up north. But I forget who it was because I was driving for prom stuff. And they were like, well, he was hurt that game, and that was the only game he played bad all season. I was glad that they said that. And then they were talking about it was the offense. It was the offense they played. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered if it was hurt or not, man. They weren't letting them open up and throw the ball. They came around and played a completely different offense with that counter scheme against Tennessee, and completely different team. They just wanted to run up the middle. And you saw it, man. Both those defensive tackles got drafted in the first round, man. Yeah, Mason Graham has an argument to be considered one of the best defensive tackles in the past 5 years, in my opinion.
They ran right at him.
Yeah.
I mean, that was their game plan.
Yeah, it wasn't a smart one.
It made no damn sense. It was, but we're past that now, and I'll get off that train because, hey, it's all positive from here on out, boys.
So for me, it's Will Howard. The way he played, especially when I'm watching him at the Rose Bowl, it was amazing what he did against Tennessee. And then what he did against Notre Dame. I mean, he played
coming out 13-13 in the national title game, starting off. Like, his stats weren't like world beaters at the end of the game, but you start a game like that. Come on, man.
But PFF, that was his highest game he's ever played in his life. So he constantly just went like this all season. And I believe, personally, if Will Howard had another year and he could have came back, he would have been a top 5 draft pick next year because he would have proved it multiple years.
Yeah. Yeah, seeing some of these boys playing together is awesome. And someone wrote, I got to get this up there. The Arizona Cardinals are OSU West now. They were
How do
man.
you
They
feel
were on
about
a
that?
tear. They were
That's
on
what I
a
want to
tear. I
ask
love
you.
it.
I got to
I
ask you a
love it. I
question.
love
It's a
boys
little
playing together
risky.
in the league.
It's
Yeah.
a little risky question.
I'm down for that.
All right. Over under the chances that they have a sock party for Will Johnson out in Arizona between Denzel Burke, Marvin Harrison, and Paris Johnson.
Oh, dude, he's gonna get hurt.
Cody Simon too.
Wow, yeah, they loaded up, dude.
Yeah.
They loaded up big. They
Are
got a
they
little
gonna
taste
jump?
of Marv. They got a little taste of Marv, and they're all
Yeah.
like, you know what? We gotta draft more Buckeyes, man. I know he
Marv
had
and
like a little
Paris?
bit of a they had a little up and down season with Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think they got a taste of it and they know they need to build around that because they got a baller there. And so they're like, you know what? Give me some more Buckeyes. We're taking them.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to give them a hard time for sure, but they need to
Yeah.
get them healthy.
Yeah, I was just joking. It was tongue in cheek. But
Yeah, I know.
I think the problem with Arizona, I don't know. I don't trust their quarterback, man. How do you feel about their quarterback situation? I think that doesn't help Marv at all.
No, I don't either. I mean, that's a little bit like the situation that they have. Baker Mayfield was kind of the same type of quarterback, struggled until recently. Maybe he'll, kind of pull it around a little bit, get used to the league and use them like his best attributes. But you got to have an offensive line. You got to have a defense around you. That's the hard part about the league, man. It's the best of the best everywhere. So you got to be on your game.
Yeah, that's true, man.
So, and everyone else around you has to be on their game. It's hard to, if you get drafted to the wrong place, and that's what I like about this. A lot of these guys got drafted to decent teams or great teams.
So who's your NFL team? I should have started
my NFL team. It's the Bengals, but man, I don't even the way they drafted and the way the Steelers are drafted. Man, I'm about to change it up, man. It hurts to say, but damn, the Bengals are killing me with their draft picks, man.
I thought you were going to say Cleveland.
No,
because that's where I want to go next. I want your feelings on Cleveland using their third rounder on Dylan Gabriel.
I didn't like that necessarily. I wouldn't have been surprised if they did Shadeur there instead. But Cleveland has that reputation, man. They love to. That's why they had to take two quarterbacks. Because they're like, we mess this up every time. We might as well trade for some more draft picks and take two.
That's interesting thought process.
That's just I'm just making fun of them, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I think
where quarterbacks go to die.
The constant with Cleveland is the owner. If you ask me, they've had different GMs, they had different coaching staffs, they had different staffs at all the way around. I feel like the owner doesn't know how to pick a head coach or a right GM. Because for them to be this bad for this many decades is just sad.
Yeah, the cradle of where quarterbacks go to die. It's really the truth, man. Someone asked in your chat where Hancock went. He went to the Bills.
Yeah.
So another good team, man. That's what going at the end of the draft, at the end of the round it's great for you. And you get to a decent team.
Yeah. And he's going to be in the playoffs every year with Josh Allen at QB.
Yep.
That's a really good team.
Yeah, the Bengals kill me, man. I don't even know what to do anymore. Do you not?
Who did you guys draft that you don't like?
Everyone.
Really?
I can't think of anyone that the Bengals drafted that I'm like, oh man, that was awesome. Great. Shamar Stewart. Take a dude that has 4.5 sacks. And
what's up with that? You could have had
Nolan,
JT or Jack.
Dude, he was like the all physical team. He was just like a combine warrior. He looks like he is an absolute stud, but he was right next to Walter Nolan. He shouldn't have had any double teams. Like he had a free shot to the quarterback every single play and just found a way to not be good. It runs a 4.5. I think he's like 6'5", 6'6", runs a 4.5 40 and just a beast, man. I think he had a 40-inch vertical too.
Well, They went for the traits instead of the production.
Yeah, they went for the ceiling and not the production. You have to have some production in college, man, before I'm drafting you. And that's the Bengals are going to Bengal, man.
There's no reason to have 4.5 sacks in your entire career. Like, that's despicable as a defensive end.
I think he had a lot of pressures, and that was one of the reasons that they went after him. I don't know, but you got to get home, man. If you're going to be drafted in the first round like that, you got to get home.
Right.
Looks like Tarzan plays like Jane. That's absolutely right, Bugsy. I like that.
Dude, Jane might play harder than him. From the sound of it.
She'd get a tackle, like at least a tackle for a loss or something. Jane would get in there and get a sack. Why don't they run for that? Yeah, I agree.
Only one person did that. Wasn't that Johnny Manziel?
Did he really?
Yeah, he did his whole workout in pads.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I remember watching it and it made sense because they asked him, why'd you do it in pads? It was like, because I play football in pads.
How many Buckeyes were drafted, man? Let me show you. 14 players drafted. You mean all time or today? Today it was 14, brother. Let's get back at that, man. Oh, dude. So, any surprises? What were your biggest surprises? For me, it was Tyleek getting drafted in the first round when he popped up there. And then, of course, Hancock when he came up. Because a lot of people were saying 17 end of the 7th round, not 17th. End of the 7th round for Hancock. And he popped up there. I was like, all right, man, here we go.
There's a lot of surprises for me, to be honest with you.
Buckeye related.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Burke.
Denzel Burke sliding so far. In my opinion, I think he slid far. Safeties, some of the safeties that went before Latham Ransom made zero sense. Will Howard going all the way to the 6th round, but I would say the biggest surprise to me was Jack Sawyer, man. How was Jack Sawyer not a first 3-round pick?
Dude, again, some places or some teams are looking strictly at measurables, and they're not looking at college football production. You have to throw on the tape, man. It's like if you went back to high school and you're like, yeah, I'm going to take this dude because he's fast.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. That has to translate, dude. That speed has to translate into getting out there on the football field, being able to cut, take a hit, make a tackle. Yeah, you can't coach speed, but you have to at least be a football player, man. There's some instinctual things that happen on a football field between the lines, man, inside the pylons. You got to be able to get it done.
Yeah.
And you just got to have it. Some people just don't have it, man.
Are you concerned about Seth going to Cincinnati?
No, I just want him to make it, man. I want him to get a chance.
I want him to be healthy because I think if he's 100% healthy,
sure.
he'll make every single NFL team.
Anywhere. Yep.
That's the only thing I'm worried that maybe there's something we don't know about his recovery process, and maybe that's why he didn't get drafted.
I thought there's got to be something in the medical to keep him from getting drafted a little earlier, but it was.
Then
weird.
They signed him so fast. I don't know what happened to Buckeye Steve, but yeah, then they signed him so fast, which was kind of interesting to me about Seth. So maybe there's nothing wrong with his medical. Maybe they just were being cheap and were like, we could get him without drafting him, you know?
In the state. I'm sorry about that.
You're good.
Can you hear me good?
You sound a little different than you did the last song.
I did.
Hold on a second. Chat, does he sound good to you? Oh, while you do that, I want to address something else. Somebody else said that they feel that Mason Graham is going to be a bust. I do not. I think Mason Graham is elite. He's legit. He's like Aiden Hutchinson. They have the team up north. We hate them, but every once in a while they have some legit ballers that can actually ball, and he's definitely one of them. I don't know how any other way to just say it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and did you see afterwards, there was a couple teams that were talking about that. Like, they get the rivalry. They were like, we'll see how they get along. We got to get these Ohio State and Michigan players getting along before we can really get after it. And Mason Graham was like, he was asked, how's it going to be going to Ohio and playing there after being a Michigan man? And he was just like, I think they'll end up liking me, because he's going to play good. He's going to be good, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
and
he's good, bro. He's elite. Like,
and there was that.
No denying it.
There was that weird kind of, all right, a Michigan guy comes to Ohio, to Cleveland. Ohio guy goes up to Detroit. So there was that flip-flop, which is always kind of cool. Because you got to end up being, you make it to the NFL. It's all business now, man. You got to make that money and support your family. So you got to get along with everyone. So you let bygones be bygones and give people, a hard time. And because that's always going to be there, right? It's in your blood.
And you don't have to be best friends with them. It's like you're not best friends with all your coworkers, right? Like, just show up, do your job, don't punch each other in the face, and then leave. And honestly, I think Marv is the beneficiary because he's going to have Will Johnson and Denzel Burke to cover him. So when he's cooking one and they get tired, they can switch to the other one. So Marv has to stay going the whole time.
Yeah, we gotta talk about this. Bugsy's daddy. I like your comments, my man. Best line by Spielman when drafted. They asked him about a slow 40 time. He said, "You put a guy in front of me, I'll catch him." I love it. I love it. That's awesome.
But that's true, though.
It was like Peter Warwick, man. When he got drafted, he ran like a 4.7 40 as a wide receiver. But you put on the game tape, man. Some people they get going.
They're
once
ballers.
you put them in that situation, they're football players. And you get your adrenaline going. Like, I know I didn't run a good 40 time, but we had a quarterback ended up getting drafted or ended up getting recruited to Air Force, played D1. He ran at the Ohio State camp 4.5 40.
Dang.
5'8", benches 405, like quarterback. Just like he could take the ball every time and score if he wanted to, but because we played in a tiny little league. But I would keep up with him on like when we ran an option or something. And there was no way I was running with him if we were running a 40 out on a track. Not happening. Right.
Yeah, good point. I mean, there's such things.
There's some guys that just have it on the field, man. You get that going, you get all juiced up, and you're good to go.
So, what if you were to have one disappointment about the draft? What would it be? Did I ask you
that we didn't get to 15? I mean, because I was sitting there rooting for it. We all were the whole time. We're like, when are we going to get to 15? When are we going to get to 15? I want 16. Because we're never satisfied. That's the way it is as a Buckeye.
To be honest, this is the first year I watched the entire draft, the entire thing, because I wanted to get the 16, but I was like, oh, we should definitely get to 15. Then once we got to round 6, and I'm like, like I don't know, Seth is gonna be a tough one to get. I'm just hoping we get to 15 now because I thought maybe we could sneak G in there with his combine, not his combine, but his pro day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like when that didn't happen, I was a little disappointed with it. But the main
Josh Fryer, he had a hell of a pro day, man. He showed some.
But I think the thing with Josh, if you watch,
the film,
it's not he did well. He wasn't actually by PFS standards. He was pretty up there on our O line. He's not that very bendy, that agile. But he also isn't a tackle. He wanted to be moved to guard this year, but we needed him at tackle. He was asking to go to guard, but we needed him there. So because he knows he's a guard and in the NFL. Yeah, he can't. You imagine going against Abdul Carter, Micah Parson for him. He doesn't have that agility for it. So like once he had to play tackle, I knew like nobody was really going to take a chance on him, but it's unfortunate. Yes, I'm disappointed that the Browns picked Dylan Gabriel over Will Howard. That's what I'm mostly disappointed with.
Mm-hmm. And then everyone was posting those videos of Will Howard, like, more sun. The more sun, the better. I think we should play in domes everywhere.
Yeah. I wish you had
that's a bad look. That's a bad look.
Terrible look.
If you got something to talk about, I'll try to look it up real quick and get it on here.
Yeah, I do. Because I remember, when they called him, right? They called him to tell him that they were picking him. He looked like, what? Why would you pick me? I hate the winter. I can't throw in the winter. I can't play in the cold.
Every game should be played in Hawaii.
Yeah. Every game should be played in Hawaii. The fans don't want to sit in the snow. They don't want to sit in the rain. Like, I think we shouldn't even play games if it's raining or snowing. Talk about soft batch of cookies. Man, it doesn't get much softer than that. Another thing I was disappointed with is New Orleans taking the quarterback from Louisville. Like, that dude is not good. So my whole thing is I'm going to just say it's a conspiracy. They conspired against Ohio State to make sure we didn't break the record from UGA, so that way ESPN can keep saying the SEC is the best conference, even though we know they're not anymore. Yeah, I mean, T-Dub, you should be. T-Dub says, as a Buckeye and Patriots fan, I'm very happy to have Travion Henderson and G. Scott on my team. Absolutely. You guys, T-Dub, you guys had the right coach there. He's a Buckeye legend as well, but he's about to get you guys back on your feet. Until you have to meet the Giants, of course. We know how that goes.
I'm going to try to do this. I don't know how well this is going to work, but I'm going to do a share screen.
Yeah, that works. This. It does work.
Yeah.
You might not be able to hear it. Can you hear that?
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, first of all, if you keep winning, you get domes the next 2 games. So
I love that.
Did you know that?
I do. Or now I do.
Now you do.
But let's continue that evolution. I think that's important.
I think what I'm really hearing right now is that every football game should be played in Hawaii.
Wouldn't that be unreal? I don't think anyone would be mad at it, but maybe just the travel or the travelers. That's tough. But let's find more sun. Let's find more sun.
Oh,
let's find more sun.
On the beginning of that clip, that's when he was talking about the snow and everything. And this was right before the Rose Bowl. Because he was like, she asked him, what is it going to take? Because they just thought they were just going to destroy us for whatever astronomical reason that they thought that.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, oh, the rest of the playoffs are in the dome? I didn't know that until just now. Yeah,
I'll start this again. We'll watch it.
Could you just fill in the blank? We will beat Ohio State if we do.
Be at our best.
What's your best look like?
Competitive, making plays, being good in situational football. Not for the coach talk, but it's just the reality of the situation. But we love the Rose Bowl. We love warm weather. I think we should play more football on nice grass instead of our artificial stuff. And the more sun, the better. Why do we do it to ourselves? Like, do fans want to sit in the snow and the rain? And let's just make arenas. Let's make domes. Let's do grass. Let's do more fireworks at games. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, all right.
He is so soft,
all,
bro.
if you keep winning, you get domes the next 2 games. So
I love that.
Did you know that?
I love that.
I do. Or now I do.
Now you do.
I do.
Now
I do.
Hey,
Yeah.
shout out to all the Cleveland fans out there. This is your future quarterback right there. Day one
That's
starter.
what you
You guys are in good hands, man. It's either
But
him
then,
or Deshaun Watson. You guys have a type. Obviously, they have a type.
He likes the
Weirdos
grass,
and
but he
short
likes the
midgets.
domes. Oh,
Anybody
man,
under 6 feet, if you want to play quarterback, Cleveland's hiring.
Anything else from the draft before I get to a quick commercial break?
Nah, I think we pretty much touched on everything. I mean, that was hilarious. That's a nice touch to end the draft conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Dude, it's hilarious, man. It's like you gotta do your homework. You gotta catch up with those videos before you get drafted after a dude like that, man. All right, it's getting hot out. You're about to go to the ball game, so get yourself one of these Icy Breezes. Stay cool.
Icy Breeze is the world's first portable air conditioner and cooler. A premium ice cooler that doubles as an eco-friendly portable air conditioner. This is not a swamp cooler, just blowing air across ice. Over 60 parts and components allow Icy Breeze to achieve what no other product in the world can do. The secret behind the Icy Breeze is an innovative design that circulates chilled ice water through a heat exchanger in the lid. replacing the Freon used in most ACs. Fresh air is drawn from hidden vents in the top of the cooler, pulled across the exchanger, and chilled down to 35 degrees cooler than the outside air. A 3-speed fan control delivers Icy Breeze's dry, cold air up to 25 miles per hour, just like a car AC. And a stay-put flex hose directs the breeze in any direction. Wherever you need it, Icy Breeze helps you beat the heat.
Icy Breeze. Hey, before we bash any more Cleveland, we got to give the Cavs a little shout out. 3-0, beat Miami at their place, 124-86. They're showing like no mercy on those boys. The Heat is getting heated up themselves, man. Guy gives the Cavs some credit. I can't wait. I want them to be at the Pacers. I don't know why. I just like beating the Pacers, so I can't wait for that to happen.
Who do you have winning the whole thing?
I mean, I'm going to go with the Cavs, man, the way they've been playing.
I'm going to go with
I know,
who you go with.
I know Miami's garbage, but really, I mean, for the playoffs. So we'll see.
I think either the Cavs or Boston are coming out. That's what I'll start watching.
Yeah.
I don't watch basketball as much
With the
anymore.
Boston.
You know? No, I'm a Knicks fan, but I don't watch
Are you?
basketball as much anymore because I just don't find it entertaining. I'm just be honest. I don't like it that
I
much.
agree.
So I'll watch basically the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. And if it's Cleveland versus Boston, that's going 7, and that's going to be one heck of a series.
All right, we're bringing in Mike Germanese here. What up, brother?
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, what's going on? Mello?
What's up, superstar?
First, congratulations on 14 guys drafted. Pretty outstanding.
Yeah.
One short. And thank you for giving me a great player for my Lions. Like it, Williams.
Yeah, all right. I didn't realize you're a Lions fan.
Him and Hutch next to each other is going to look good, I think, come
yeah,
September,
for sure.
October.
Yeah.
It should look real good. That defensive line is going to be
Nasty.
crazy. I thought they were maybe going to draft Sawyer too. I kept waiting for that, and I was like, that line's going to be nasty if they did that.
I would have liked to see him get an edge rusher, but we'll see what happens. I trust Brad Holmes. If you take a team that hasn't done anything for 70 years and all of a sudden get them to 14 wins, I'm not going to question the GM at all.
Man, so I heard you guys are getting rid of J-Mo. Is that true?
You know what? There was rumors out there, but then Holmes said they haven't entertained it at all. And they signed his 5th-year option, him and Hutch. The thing is, who do you pay? They've paid out a lot of money. So I don't know how much is going to be there to play a guy like Williams. Because Hutch is going to get big bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is coming off an injury, though, right?
Yeah. See what he's like.
I think he's going to be fine. I heard he's already sprinting.
That was a brutal injury, though. Watching that live.
I didn't watch it. I couldn't. I would have threw up.
Oh. To see his legs snap around all the way wasn't good.
Yeah, but he's a dog.
He is a dog. It's gonna be an interesting year. But yeah, I like Williams. He's gonna look good in Honolulu blue.
I got to ask you a question, though, about J-Mo. Because is he more than just a 9 route runner? Because I don't watch the Detroit Lions that much.
It's hard. They use him. It's all about him is just getting him in space. I've seen him go deep, and then you see him where they get it to him almost behind the line of scrimmage. If you get him the ball, he's one of those guys I think that the Lions use. Just get him the ball in space, and he's gonna hit a home run.
Yeah, because he started off in Columbus, right? And the thing about it with Heartline, you have to be able to run every route, the entire route tree to see the field. And he was mainly a 9 route runner, and it worked tremendously because, there's just not that much speed on any team that could cover him. And that's why you saw him have that season that he did at Bama. But that's why I was just wondering if he developed any more in terms of his route tree.
Yeah, they have him running different things. It's mostly downfield. Because when you got St. Brown, it's kind of hard to keep everybody close. But
yeah,
I've seen him give him the ball 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, and he's got the ball 30 yards down. So yeah, he's developed more, I think, and you can see he's maturing a lot more considering the first couple years were injury and suspension. But yeah, he's learning. People forget that they're 18, 19, 20-year-old kids.
Yeah.
If you handed me $5
around
million, TMZ can just follow me around at that age. I'd give him 24 hours, 7 days a week footage.
Oh,
right.
That's a good. Where did Fields go?
Jets.
Did he go to?
Yep. Jets.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Him and G5 are back together. And the tight end.
Prior to Arizona too. I forgot to mention that.
I didn't know.
Buckeyes left and right. Did that just happen?
That had to.
I don't remember seeing that either.
Arizona
That's awesome, dude. It is Buckeyes West, dude. There's a lot of good things about Arizona and a lot of Ohio State fans out there. First of all, both the Cincinnati Reds and the Cleveland Indians. I'm just going to say Indians because I can't say Guardians. That's just weird.
Yeah.
At least come up with something better. Like if you're going to switch names, come up with something better. Don't be the Washington football team either.
No, that
still might be better than the Guardians. So
yeah. Anyway, so they're both down there. I guess I learned this from Bucknuts. Listen to them, but Goodyear actually bought a bunch of land out there. That's why it was called Goodyear, Arizona. And I went to grad school in Phoenix, so I've been out there. I know what it's like. It was nice to be out there. It sucked in the summertime, but it was nice. There's a place called Buckeye, Arizona, also named because of Ohio. And when I went out there, it was I think that was it was definitely for the Florida game when we lost to Florida. And the national title game. Buckeye, Arizona had a screen printing place and everyone out there for shirts because it was Ohio State and Buckeye, Arizona. So there was just packed lines with free shirts. Tiny little town. Like you had to drive like an hour in the desert and all these people lined up. Anyway, I'm off topic. Let's get in. You were watching the Oregon spring game today. Tell us a little bit about how that looked. We got to get into, scouting around the Big Ten and scouting the competition. And then Mike's going to give us a little bit about the Michigan spring game because he was there.
Absolutely.
In the stands and on the field.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mello.
No, you're fine. Oregon, I'll just be honest, they got a lot of talent, man. A lot of talent. You can see it. It's pretty evident. They don't have the experience, though. But this team is going to be formidable for years to come. Talent's everywhere. I mean, I watched Dorian Brew make a play. I also watched him get cooked a couple of times. I watched Brandon Finney get cooked. Dante Moore didn't put the ball in the right spot. The dude was wide open. He just missed him, threw him out of bounds. Austin Novosad, to me, looked like the better QB all day. He was dropping dots. He put a ball on the Corian Moore that either DeCorian was going to get it. I don't even know how DeCorian caught it. I don't even know how the ball made it that accurate. But he was blanketed with DB all over him, and he still caught it. It was probably like a 40-yard bomb. Naeem made a pretty good play in the end zone, the back of the end zone, broke up a pass. And all I was thinking was like, man, you're supposed to be wearing scarlet and gray. But whatever.
Yeah.
The D-line, I don't like to critique on the D-line, but I will, especially for a spring game. But I will because they made it was a real game. The only person that didn't get hit was the quarterback. And the D-line looks a little suspect to me, to just being honest. They looked a little suspect. But their O-line is massive, so I don't know how much you can gauge from that. I want to see it in a real game against a different team. The wide receivers look better. All their DBs, they have, I think, one DB in the secondary that's under 6 foot. Everybody else is like 6'1" and up. They have a 6'5" DB out there, but none of their DBs could cover JJ, so I'm not worried about it. But they definitely look like what you've been hearing about them. They look really good. They're just young.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're always going to be talented. Look at the way they're recruiting. Look at Dan Lanning, the way he is as a coach. He's smart. He's young. He puts in all the effort in the world. It's Oregon. They have all the jerseys, all the shoe money, all the Nike money. They're going to compete every single year. And let's be honest, they're going to be the team that really gives the Buckeyes the biggest threat in recruiting always. And then, that's the lifeblood of any college football team. Who you get, it's not about the coaches, it's about the Calebs and the Jeremiahs.
Hey, you know what though? I like that you brought that up, but one thing, I'm gonna drop this. Don't shoot the messenger. But
right.
The White House is scarlet and gray. Just remember that. And I'm just gonna put out this conspiracy that I made up on my own right here, right now. So you're gonna hear it first.
All right.
We put tariffs on China to drop Phil Knight's net worth, so that way he can't keep paying these kids and these recruits. So he lost $50 billion in the first hour or two. Let's see if we can make him lose another 50.
Yeah,
you know?
That could be the best thing I ever heard right there.
You might need.
I want that on a shirt when I go to an Ohio State game next year.
Yeah, when they play Oregon.
Keep dropping tariffs on China. Let's drop Knight's net worth. NIL depends on it. I like it.
Actually, that's really good.
So Dante Moore didn't look like the hype was.
No, Dante Moore has a lot of talent. You can see it. He just wasn't that accurate. I think Novosad is really good, man.
Did he come on later on?
Huh?
I watched him a lot of.
Did he come on later on? Like,
I mean,
did he get, was it nerves? Did he get adjusted later on?
I didn't finish the fourth quarter. As of right now, I mean, he was hitting his shorter passes. It was just the deep passes. He was off a lot. And the thing about that, I can't really judge too much because a lot of that's timing, footwork, knowing how your receivers like the ball. They have a lot of young players. And we remember Will Howard in the beginning of the season looked terrible in the deep balls. He was always underthrowing the players, right? But by the end of the season, he was elite.
It's hard, too, with the spring game because you don't know if it's the ones or the twos these guys are playing with.
Yeah.
And who's the playing and what kind of defense you're running? Yeah.
So the one offense went against the two defense and the two defense went against the one offense.
So they did it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I like that approach.
That was the problem with the Michigan game. They split up the teams completely, so you had no idea where people were and what they were doing.
Let's dive into the Michigan game. I'm just gonna say one last thing about Oregon. I hope that they piss off Austin Novosad and he leaves because that dude is the truth. But go ahead.
Where is he? Did he transfer in?
No, I think they got him straight out of high school.
Did they? Okay.
I believe so. Don't quote
me.
Were
we in on him? I can't. His name sounds so familiar, but I
don't think so.
Picture him. All right.
Yeah, Mike, let us know about the Team Up North spring game. What you thought? What did you think of Bryce Underwood? And I know it's hard because you guys do some weird stuff. Just being honest, do you guys have any legit threats on the outside?
Let's start with Bryce Underwood.
Yeah,
I think he struggled a little bit, and at first I was worried until we got into the press conferences and you heard some of the veteran players say like we were trying to calm him down, like he was very hyped up before. And that could have been why, because later in the game, he was starting to hit more of his passes, where at first he was overthrowing. But then you start looking at the teams, and there's guys who are never going to see the field out there. Because the way Michigan does it is they have a draft, and captains literally pick teams. So it's guys all over the place. There's 1s, 2s, 3s, walk-ons. I think the guy who sells Miller Lite was out there at one point. Like, it's all over the place. I think the defensive line, I think, is going to be really good. The linebackers and the DBs are going to be – I think the defensive backs will be better this year than they were last year. The defensive line, it's hard. You're replacing 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
Like, there's not much you can do to upgrade or to say you upgraded there, but I don't think they fell too far off.
Even to stay even.
I don't think I wouldn't never say even. You get 2 first-round picks is hard to replace.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Even to stay even with that would be spectacular.
Yeah. Like, that's a hard thing to replace until you see it in game action to say, yeah, they did. Outside, I don't know. We have a lot of height now, which I like. You got 4 or 5 guys over 6'5".
You're talking offense or defense?
On offense. You got both tight ends are over 6 feet, and Michigan likes to use the tight ends. And then you got the transfer in McCulley. I think he's 6'5". The freshman Broughton, 6'5". So you can literally line up 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and go 6'5" straight across the board. with a big quarterback. And offensive line, I think, is going to be better just because last year when you don't have a quarterback who can throw a ball more than 6 feet and complete it, your offensive line is going to look bad because there ain't nobody defending the pass against that. Like you're just.
Do you agree with this?
What's that?
Up north, spring game looked a little mediocre and a little sloppy. Wasn't impressed. You kind of had a little bit of that.
Well, yeah, of course. When you,
but it's a spring game.
When you're playing everybody on the roster and there's no first team, second team, third team, fourth team, literally guys who are never going to see. There's guys playing who are never going to probably dress for a game that were on the field. There's guys that if they go to the 105, what is it, 105 roster limit now, that won't be on the team in a couple of weeks.
My question to you, Mike.
I think Sharon said it the best. Just stay healthy. No one got hurt.
Yeah.
Is it what I wanted to see from somebody like Underwood? No. But we still got a lot of time, and he's only 17 years old.
So my thing, because of how unique you guys, your spring games are, I don't think you can compare your spring game to anybody else's, right? So we need to isolate that and try to take that picture out of our minds. I know it's hard because we're human. So just to paint another picture to have a comparison, because that's how we operate as humans. Compare this spring game and your thoughts on how it looked and how the team looked compared as opposed to your last year's spring game. Because I know 100% you guys
100% better.
This year's?
I went to last year's and I went to the year before.
Uh-huh.
It was closer to the 23 team, a lot closer than the 24 team. The 24 team I left and I was like, we're in trouble. Like there's no quarterback play. We're shaky at wide receiver. There's no size. Like this defense is going to have to hold guys to 15 points. As opposed to this year when I left, when I was like, okay, I can see that there's pieces there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about come August, the end of August, are they going to be ready to go? Because we're lucky that we get one game before Oklahoma, which Oklahoma kind of reloaded this offseason, which sucks. It sucks that Ohio State gets Texas right off the bat. It'd be nice if you guys had that one game just to whoever does win the starting job to kind of get a feel for everything. But the good news for you guys too is that Texas is starting a new quarterback, but he's played a lot considering when Quinn Ewers was out.
Yeah, he started 2 games, and so he's got that experience.
He should have played.
He had
the
a lot
rest
of experience other than that. Yeah, he probably should have. You're right.
Quinn Ewers is terrible.
You think so?
Yeah, I didn't like him. He has moments where he looks like the guy you guys gave the $1 million to, but then he goes on like a 10-minute where you're like, who is this guy? And why isn't he playing at Hidden Valley University?
Ken, I hope you're right, man. Will the Buckeyes be ready for Texas? I don't know.
Here's the thing.
I think they have the talent to be ready. They have the talent to be ready. It's just putting all the pieces together.
I think it's a 50-50 game.
There's a lot to work on.
Yeah. Texas lost a lot as well, and that's what people are forgetting aren't realizing. Yep. I mean, they loaded up on the defensive tackles, but let's see how that all comes together. But they lost a lot of pieces. I'm not sold on Arch Manning. The 2 times that he did play, he played against some FCS teams or some really bad teams. Then the one time he got in the game, he got concussed by getting hit in the back by Latham Ransom. So, I mean, I'm not sold on Arch Manning being the heir apparent. Texas is going to be very good. The talent is going to be pretty equated. I think our coaching staff is prepared. They're veteran. I think they'll be ready. I have us in a 2.5-point win just because it's a home game. But in essence, I think it's a 50-50 game.
See, I think you guys are going to win because I don't trust Sark and I like Day. And I think in those games, Day's going to beat him. Yeah. Because Sark seems to lose all those big games. Like people forget last year, Texas lost to every good team they played.
Yeah, Georgia twice too.
Yeah, they lost to Georgia twice. Like they didn't really beat a good team.
You got to think when you're a relatively new coach, a lot of times you lose those big games until you get your system in, you get all of your players
Mark's
in.
Not new, though.
Well, yeah, but
he's not. I mean, he's relatively new. Is it
Nah,
5
he was.
already?
I mean, he was a head coach at USC, and then he got into that trouble.
Yeah, but new there. You know what I mean?
How long has he been there?
And-
4 years?
He basically had to have a restart. You know what I mean?
I think he's been there longer than 4
dude was-
years.
Like he's got to have been there 4 or 5 years. That's not new. The
Nah,
only
he's not
thing
new.
I would be worried about
That's still relatively new. If you think about it, how long did it take Ryan Day to get a national title?
How
6
long has
years?
Ryan Day been here, head coach?
This will be year number 7.
So that's like a 2-year difference.
Yeah. And he was losing to Georgia. Day was getting that. He could get past.
Yeah,
he
but you
had
guys
his-
had no business losing to Georgia that game.
Losing to Alabama. I mean, he had those games where he would lose. Did finally get the Clemson game off his back, but lost to Clemson initially. So when you start out, especially, I don't want to say, because he was like almost like a new coach again, because he had to start back over. We went through the Saban rehab and completely had to forget what he learned in the past and start over with Saban's approach. And with a little bit of whatever he had from USC in the Pete Carroll days too.
Listen, when you make this kind of money, you get 1 or 2 years. You don't get 3, 4, 5 to say they're new. I'm sorry, he's not new.
But
no
I mean,
more.
he brought them back to prominence. They've been in the playoffs the last 2 years. What more? I mean, you just got to build
when you
upon
got
that.
$40 million to spend, you can bring them back to prominence. It's not hard. Like,
But they've always had that. They've always had that to spend.
Let's be honest. Like,
whether it was real or not, they had that money, and it was just in bags before.
At some point, you got to start winning. Penn State, look,
They're winning. They're
You gotta start winning
It's
those
just
games.
yeah.
College football is 3 games. I don't care they play a 12-game season. It's really 3 or 4 games where it's going to be competitive. The rest you could pretty much pencil in. It's what you do in those 3 games that make you good. And for
Sure.
Texas last year, they lost them all. They played
I'm
one
just
good
saying,
team.
2
They
more
played one good
years,
team.
you make
Georgia.
the playoffs every year. You got some time to build upon and make those games. It's
No,
just
you
like
gotta
when
say-
we were, like
Start
if we were
trending
saying that
towards
about
being-
Day.
Starts
If
trending
we-
towards being the Franklin of the SEC. Beat all the teams you're supposed to and lose to the good teams.
We'll see.
Wait,
You
wait,
just gotta
but-
give. You gotta
but-
give
but
some
in-
people some time.
In Steve's
I said
vlog,
2 more years.
Franklin's still new. It's okay. He's still new. He'll figure it out soon.
No, Franklin's been there way too long. That's a different story. He's got to get it together.
Man, I'm loving this. I'm
And
fully
I
entertained,
think-
fellas.
I think
The
I think
only
with- I think with
thing,
Franklin,
and listen, I'll ask you guys: does it worry you that you're going into game 1 though with a new OC and DC?
If I was outside and I didn't know the information that I do know, I would be worried.
no, not at all.
I'm not worried at all.
Because I
Not
don't.
at all.
I ask because I don't like Patricia. I seen when he was at the Lions. I watched him with the Eagles, with a team that just won the Super Bowl, and he couldn't do nothing with most of the same players.
He's a completely rejuvenated dude, man. He's completely different. He went into that with Belichick's mindset, not being himself. He had that attitude at Detroit, and he learned from that. And he's talked about it. He said that I'm coming to Ohio State. I'm ready to learn just as much as I'm ready to teach. And that's a completely different attitude. He was all gung-ho. I've won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots. If you came into that mindset, you would go in there in Detroit and be like, yo, dude, everyone's going to listen to me. They're going to do exactly what I say because I'm the man. I've been the man my whole life. Listen. And he went in there with that wrong approach and just rubbed people the wrong way. And these were professional dudes. The Belichick approach doesn't work everywhere.
No,
Detroit's a different
Belichick's
place.
approach doesn't work anywhere unless you're Belichick.
Exactly. Exactly.
How
And
many-
he tried that and he learned from it.
How many guys left Belichick's tree that were successful? I don't think any.
Lovie Smith had some. Was it not Lovie Smith? Who was the? I can't remember who it was. The other defensive coordinator.
Like it's not a.
I don't know. Yeah, who cares? Let's move on. Yeah, Matt Patricia's going to be good. You wait and see, man. I'm willing to bet on it. It's a 9 out of 10. I
This
give
is
it a
what
9
you're
out
not
of
going
10.
to like as a team up north fan.
What's that?
You're not going to like
If he
this.
does good. If he does good.
There is no
Oh
if.
no! To me, listen. You can ask.
There is no if. We're going to have the number 1 defense again.
Listen,
Our
you can ask-
defense, Would you believe me if I told you our defense is going to be better than it was last year?
Yeah.
Losing 8 dudes.
I actually just wrote an article that you guys are the new Alabama.
Yeah, because Nick Saban retired. Thank God.
And actually, that's the first line.
We needed that.
That Saban's gone and Ryan Day's the new Saban. And I have no problem saying that. Because unlike Steve, who didn't think you guys were going to win the national championship and hates America, I picked you guys before you even lost to Michigan. And I tried to explain to him that you guys were still going to win the national championship, and even if you lost the game. And he cried. And I was like, don't worry, you're going to be okay. You're going to win a national championship.
I'm still crying, but I'm happy.
And he was crying.
Tears,
and then when he won the
joy.
national championship, he wouldn't even return my phone calls to say I was right.
Why didn't you call him back? Why did you just ghost him?
He was ghosting me just because I was going to say, I tried to explain it to you. You didn't have to cry as much as you did.
I just didn't want to break anything, right?
That was
I was
a heartbreaking
emotional
game. I'm sorry. I was so angry after that game. It should have never happened, but it is what it is. You were right for sure. So, Steve, go ahead and tell him he was right.
Yeah, there's a first time for everything. Even a blind squirrel gets a nut every now and then.
No, but from what I'm hearing, the players feel like I'm hearing this from not just the players on the team, but recruits that have attended practice, that have attended
families.
practice under Knowles and under Matty P. They said this defense is going to be way better. They said they're faster. They hit harder. They're more aggressive. They're flying around everywhere. Better athleticism. And then the players that are here, just if you listen to their interviews, their telltales, they all say it's so much easier. It's simpler. The defense is simpler. I don't have to think as much. I could just play and fly around. And everybody wants to point to the spring game, but they kept it super basic. They ran a cover 2 and a cover 3 and 0 stunts and 0 blitz. So it was more of a confidence builder for the quarterbacks and to see if the quarterbacks can make throws, right? And tight windows. And that's what it was. But I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a massive upgrade, and people are going to be like, how is this possible? That's all.
Well, if they ask how it's possible, then they're not the smartest people in the room.
The other thing with Patricia that the players are saying is he teaches them the why of why they're doing a lot of the things, which makes them able to play faster. He's explaining it. Some of the guys are like, I've learned more about football, just like schemes with the offense and why we're doing this, why we're doing that, when they're lining up in this, what I'm going to expect, because he takes the time to explain it. Not just you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. He takes the time, pull a guy aside and be like, hey, we're going to run this because this is what the offense is doing.
And I think it's good to have a guy.
We're going to change it up.
When you have a guy with
because you need to know the ins and outs. Yeah.
When you have a guy with NFL experience too, he brings in some of those NFL concepts.
Yeah.
There's a lot of college teams or college coordinators that can't deal with that because there's too much going on. When you have that many moving parts like they have in the NFL, like whenever I talk to somebody, the biggest difference, they're like, it's the movement before the ball, where you see a defense and everybody's moving somewhere and trying to figure out where the blitz is coming from and trying to figure out what this guy's going to do or what this guy's going to do because everybody's moving somewhere. When you bring that to college, these offensive coordinators, a lot of them don't know how to deal with it. And that's going to be great for Ohio State, especially when you got a guy like Caleb Downs or the guy who replaced, sorry, I forget his name, but Burke. Who replaced Burke this year?
Jermaine Matthews.
Oh, Jermaine Matthews. Jermaine Matthews. This is my hot take.
Stud.
First round draft pick.
Yeah, like he looks like
that's not a hot take.
Yeah, he is absolute stud of watching him. He should have started last year. Like honestly, if Burke wouldn't have been there and they didn't have like that seniority to him, dude, best defensive back I've seen at Ohio State in a long time.
Like your secondary is probably going to be better. What's it, Igbinosa? Am I saying it right?
Davidson,
If he's not as handsy as he was last year, because it seemed like he played a little bit handsy. Where
he hasn't been.
And I know he wasn't, and I know we talked about this, but then you go back and watch. It seems like whenever he thinks he's in trouble, even though he's not, he reaches.
Yeah.
And I think,
it's like anxiety.
Yeah, I think that's something where Patricia, having been around so many NFL guys, is going to be a big help for him to get rid of that. Because if he stops doing that, with your secondary
He's a stud.
and the guys coming off the edge, it's going to be, I already told you, Steve, it's going to be a race to 20. If Ohio State gets to 20 points, the game's over. Because I can't see people scoring more than 20 against you guys.
That reminds me, did anyone see that tweet that was they put Igbinosa instead of Quinshawn? It was like it was an ESPN reporter or NFL reporter. I can't remember who it was, but they're like, congratulations with the with the pick.
Yeah. And
Going to
Devin
the Browns.
Sanchez reposted it. It was the day. It was right after they put Javon McFadden as Josh Simmons.
Oh yeah.
No, I think the Big Ten is going to be pretty good this year. Which I like to see.
I think it's the best conference in football. I don't think this is some fluke. I think it's a direct correlation with them legalizing NIL. And honestly, the schools up north just have more money, period. And that's just
Thank you. I say this to people all the time. What changed? You don't do 15 years of dominance and start losing it without figuring out what changed. The only thing that changed was NIL and the transfer portal.
Yep.
So there's something there that the other conference was doing.
Oh, yeah.
To lose their dominance. That now more teams up north are doing.
Yeah.
And you're right. There's a lot of money in the Big Ten.
Lot of money.
There's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
you think about the largest universities that have been around for a long time. They have a lot of alumni.
We're going to see because
people, there's a lot of businesses that started from these universities, from graduates of these universities, and there's a ton of money. So some of these smaller towns too in the South are all in mostly small, tiny little towns. Like the college is the town. You got big cities in the North or ones that are close to it, like Michigan. They're close to Detroit where they have that population. There's a lot more NIL coming in. There's a lot more businesses in these big cities that can contribute to it. Before, and the Big Ten has always kind of been like this, which is, I'm going to bring up another point in a second, but they've always been like, we're an academic school. We're going to do everything right. We're going to do it by the rules, play exactly how it's laid out in the rules, and we're not going to cross any lines. The SEC was different than that. They were like, we're going to do whatever we can to win.
You're not cheating. You're not trying unless you're cheating.
And they had the bagmen. But the difference was then the bagman was $10,000, maybe $300,000 if you're, you know, because it was a while ago. It was before everything got crazy, and
that's a very valid point.
Everything doubled. You could stuff $10,000 in a bag and give it to someone. Now everything's digital. If you put $10,000 cash in a bank, someone's going to be looking at that.
And the transfer portal helps out too, because you got to remember these teams.
And that's my other point.
These teams used to stack. Like Alabama at one point had what? Henry, Najee Harris, and another guy all in the same running back room. It was top running back off the top, running back off the top, running back. That doesn't happen anymore. You might get one or two, but as soon as that other guy's not playing, another school's come calling and they're dropping the bag.
Which is my other point. When you talk about the transfer portal, the SEC did the most Big Ten type of thing I've ever seen in my life.
What's that?
Where they said you can't transfer from an SEC school to another SEC school. So the Big Ten and every league is picking up all those boys
in the spring, not in the fall. You could do it in the fall.
In the spring,
you can't do it in the spring window.
But look at Ohio State picking up. They were trying to get Purdue's tackle that ended up signing with Minnesota, which I think is strange because he was from Ohio too.
Because he's guaranteed a starting spot at Minnesota. He'd take Phillip Daniels' spot that came to Ohio State.
Yeah, I know, but still, he's an Ohio boy. You come back to Ohio. But what I'm saying is, Ohio State can go get those dudes when they're looking good in the spring, but Georgia can't. And those people are going to go fill positions somewhere in the Big Ten or in the Big 12 or in the ACC. It's a complete disregard for the quality in the SEC. And it's something that I just thought that would be more like the Big Ten thing to do. Like,
100%. But I think
not playing games. Like,
I think you're going to see a lot of changes to a lot of this over the next 2 to 3 years.
I like that. That's going to be, Hey, if they win it again, a third year in a row, if the Big Ten wins it, I'm gonna be tweeting that. I'm stealing that. Devers,
Because now you got
stealing
the SEC kind of
the
pushing
crap
for
out of that.
change. There's going to be big changes coming. It's just a matter of what the changes are and if the actual universities implement the change. Because it can't be the athletic departments. It has to be the universities.
And I think that'll be the great equalizer. If they start doing something like that, whatever comes out with this House case, it might bring
I
the
don't
Big
even
Ten
think it's
down.
the House case. The House case is just going to lead to more lawsuits. I think eventually you're just going to see the actual universities say enough's enough. Okay, let's be honest here.
Mm-hmm.
These are some of the greatest universities in the world. Okay, if they wanted to fix this, it would have been fixed by now legally. Like, these are not us three sitting around trying to brainstorm how to fix this. These are some of the greatest minds in the world. But greed runs college football, and they're making a lot of money. And all NIL is fans paying the salaries of the players. Why would the universities want to pay? If you're Michigan, you think you want to pay Bryce Underwood's salary? Let the guy worth $400 billion pay it. Why should we have to pay it? Just let them pay it. Why? Because they pocket all their money. But at some point, it's going to become unsustainable, and you're going to see big changes.
You know what's hotter than money? NOC.
Seasoning, food's favorite flavor.
Yum, yum, get you some.
I'm Joe Burrito, your favorite burrito. Whoa, whoa.
Joe,
hey.
We all know you're the best.
What?
You can always do better. Try the new Dano's Hot Chipotle.
Hey. Ooh, that's spicy. Yum, yum.
Yum, yum, get you some.
Yum, yum, get you some, baby.
Get some. Now I'm hungry again. It's fourth meal time.
Yeah.
Oh,
hey,
Steve,
we gotta talk about Shadeur. What do you guys think? I mean, I'll start with you, Mello. What did you think about that slide? Where did you originally think he was going to go? Then the slide.
Where did I originally think he was going to go? I thought he was going to be a second rounder, to be honest with you. Second or third rounder. The slide is crazy. I honestly think he just flunked the interviews. I know in the interviews you have to do whiteboard stuff, draw up defenses, draw up offenses. Basically what John Gruden was doing with Will Howard, right? I think he bombed that. I heard he was blowing teams off. That's what I think. I have no idea. It's the most strange set of events that have happened. But I watched Marcus from LSU. That's on ESPN. I forget his last name with the glasses, big black dude. He said he doesn't have any off the charts qualities, right? It was like, so when it comes to eval as a GM or a coach, it's like, what's his ceiling? It's hard to quantify how good he can be. Is his ceiling more? Is his trajectory more on a Geno Smith level, or is it something lower? So I think the combination of all of that, and then like what comes with all the attention he brings, whether it's positive, negative, whatever, you can always turn something into money, right? I think teams just didn't want to deal with it.
I think he came with that, what would you call a little bit of baggage. Maybe the confidence outweighed, and I think this is the same guy that I was listening to on ESPN. His confidence outweighed his talent. And that was where the disconnect was. So he came in with all kinds of talent or all kinds of confidence. And teams were like, well, I don't really know if you're as good as your confidence is saying. Like, to blow off teams. Like, if you're that confident where you can just say, I'm not going to go there. You have to be a number one draft pick to be able to do that.
Literally.
Right? Yeah. It's like you have to have the best of the best talent to go into an NFL room and be like, I don't want to be here. You know what I mean? Like, how can you come into an interview like that? If that's really what happened, like, no, I'm not going to your interview. You're not good enough for me. And they're like, all right. And if that spreads around, it might not have been said exactly like that. It might have just been, the body language that said that, or just how he acted,
I think what it came down to was, what's the NFL's teams that drops some return on investment? How much are you going to be willing to put up with? And at what point can you draft him if it becomes too much that you can cut him and it's not going to cost you nothing? If you draft him in the first round, 2 games in, if you have a starting quarterback that's struggling and Dion starts tweeting, you got nothing but headaches for the rest of the year. Coaches don't want to deal with that. They don't want the outside noise.
This is
the best thing Shadeur could have did was not play for his dad, because I think he is a talented quarterback.
I agree.
But he had no repercussions for anything he did. When he walked off the field against Nebraska before the game ended, that doesn't happen anywhere else. That happened because he played for his dad. And I like Dion. I think Dion's a good coach. But there's no discipline.
Great for Colorado.
There's no discipline. I don't think anybody trusted anything Dion said about him. Because you hear all these these NFL teams spend a lot of money deep diving on these guys, right? You're not going to trust anything coming out of Colorado. You're probably not going to trust anything coming out of his high schools. Because it's
Travis Hunter.
Like, it's hard.
Trust that.
Yeah, but that's a two-way player, generational Heisman winner. Like, there's a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. Someone that needed their jersey retired.
Well, they both shouldn't have got their jersey retired before Stewart.
I mean, I'm okay with Travis Hunter getting his jersey retired. It's Colorado. I mean, you don't do that at Ohio State or Michigan, but it's Colorado.
Listen, I don't care. It's up to Dion. If he wants to retire the guy who cleans the stairs' jersey, that's fine with me. It's a jersey retirement. Who cares?
He retired his own jersey at Colorado.
Who, Dion? Good for him.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
No, I think Shadeur has a lot of talent. It sucks for the kid to have to go through what he went through, because I think there was a lot of they don't want to deal with the extra publicity around it of having to bring him in. I don't know what Cleveland does with that room now. Like, Cleveland's going to have – that's a crazy quarterback room now. You have
Mike, you're very popular. And I'm sorry that we got off topic, but I got to ask questions about the team up north, because I don't know when I'm ever going to be able to have you right in front of me.
Let's do it.
I have to. We're going to pepper him, because I feel like he's the only one that will be honest. What were the players saying after the spring game that would either give you hope or give you pause? Either way,
they were the year before. I'm trying to figure out the right wording to put this.
Just say it, man.
They were very.
Don't think about it.
They were very upbeat. The players.
What, last year?
This year.
Okay.
Whereas before when they came in, you can kind of tell the mood wasn't there. This year they were very upbeat. Like Justin Hayes when he came in, Jordan Marshall when they came in, like, you can tell. Like, they had a good feel to them. They weren't tired. They were in a good mood. It was just a very good feeling when I left. Now, is it going to translate to 10, 11, 12 wins? Let me get through the first 4 games, and we're going to find out. Because there are a lot of moving pieces for Michigan that have to see how it works out. Like, you're starting most likely a true freshman quarterback. Like, I got to see what he can do after a fall camp and actually playing in a game. Like, anybody who comes out and says to me, oh, they're going to win 5 games, you're not being honest. But if you're going to tell me they're going to win 12, you're not being honest either. If I had, they'll probably be around 9, 10.
I got them 10-2.
If they get to 10-2, you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Michigan and Ohio State would never miss a playoff with 2 losses. It'll never happen. Just because they're probably 2 of the biggest brands in sports. And there's a reason why their game is the most watched game every year. At 10-2 is a good year. Yeah. Sharon Moore, second year, 10-2, get him to a playoff.
Oh,
I don't know how they beat Ohio State last year, but you beat Ohio State once already, so you're already ahead of Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, that's true too.
You finally
really
adapted.
Looking at that schedule, I think 10-2 is realistic. I mean, I kind of would be disappointed if they were 9-3, to be honest with you.
So would I be. So honestly, so would I. The problem for me is you got Oklahoma in Norman, Oklahoma is not the 5-win team they were last year.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
USC, I think, is going to be a lot better than people think, and that's at the Coliseum this year. And we got to go to Nebraska. And Nebraska is going to be a lot better than people think. And if you look at the head coaches, usually his trajectory, he goes, 2 wins, 5 wins, 10, 11 wins, everywhere he's been. So it's not a game I really want to play this year is heading to Nebraska for a game. Not the most friendly environment. But if you can get...
I wouldn't say it's not friendly. It's the most friendly environment. It's just... It's a tough place to play.
If they beat Oklahoma, then yeah, it's 10 wins, I think, pretty easily. Because the rest of their schedule, I don't think is that difficult.
I have them losing to Oklahoma and us. I think they beat everybody else. That's just me.
Mello, you're keeping old men up. Come on, man.
It's all good.
What I hope is that we get to the last game and it doesn't mean nothing, to be honest with you. And I'm not just saying this because I think we're going to lose.
I hate when you come up with this stuff, man.
I'm not just saying this because I think we're going to lose or anything. I don't really care about the game anymore. And me and Steve talked about it. I gave him my reasoning. It doesn't mean anything no more.
What's your reason? Because I feel the same way that the reason it was the game is because it stopped you from making it to the Rose Bowl or to a Natty.
Yep.
I don't think it has the same value. People could chop it up however they want and act like it still means the same, but it really doesn't.
That game, it didn't matter if Michigan was okay. For example, last year, let's say Michigan only had 5 wins last year. We win that game. Mm-hmm. Our season's a success the old way because we keep you guys from winning a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yep. If it was the old way, we would still be celebrating because we would have kept you out of the playoff. You guys never would have won a national championship, and you didn't get to play for a Big Ten title.
Yeah.
But
you see what I got on my head.
I didn't even. Damn it! I didn't get one of those hats.
I actually like that.
I'm always gonna be mad, but I love that hat.
It doesn't matter no more because it doesn't have that. Like you could have Michigan, Ohio State play that game. You're gonna have one fan base talking, and then play 3 weeks later, and then the other fan base talking. Like it doesn't have that feel. Now let them play a national championship game, then all bets are off.
Right.
Then that game is the ultimate game. But to play the last, it's like I told Steve. It's like when the Lions play Green Bay. Yeah, it's great to beat them that week, but the next week you're on to another game. Or if you're watching anything, like any sport like that. I don't know. That's just to me. Like it doesn't have what it used to have. And my wife's a Buckeye.
Oh, I'm looking up how much those hats are on eBay right now. I ordered one of those locker room hats twice, only to have them canceled both times.
What? They canceled them?
Yeah, they canceled them both times. So I ordered it from collegefootballshop.com that was announced on the TV.
Yeah.
Waited the 2 weeks, went to the spring game or went to the celebration at the stadium where they had them on sale. And I was thinking about getting one, but I was like, you know what? I got one on the way. I'm not going to be one of those guys that gets extra and someone else can't get one. Got canceled when I got home like a week later. So immediately they tried to send me another hat, some knockoff that was similar. And I was like, no, I don't want that. And so I was like, I got on Nike.com, ordered it. And 2 days later, they just said canceled order. Didn't tell me why either at Nike. So I had to call them, wait on the line for an hour to figure out what was going on, get transferred 45 times. And then they were like, oh, the supplier just stopped. We don't have them anymore.
Listen, we don't mean to upset you in the chat. We're not saying that the game isn't important in terms of the rivalry.
I think it's important. It's got to be mentally important.
We're saying it's not important in terms of stopping you from winning a natty. Like back in the day, if you lost that game, there was nothing left. You weren't playing for a national championship. So in terms of the stakes, it's not the same. It's just
It's like this. Okay, my wife is a Buckeye. My brother-in-law is a Buckeye. It felt great when we were in Columbus and I got to watch my brother-in-law in misery after that game. But you only got to enjoy it for 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Because then they were holding the national championship. And what are you going to say? Oh, we beat you? Well, we won a national championship.
That's what they try to say to us. They just say 13-10. And I just laugh at them like, okay, that was your Super Bowl.
Who cares? Right. I would lose, and another point Steve said I was crazy. I would lose every year to Ohio State if you told me I was going to win a national championship once every 4 years. I would never beat Ohio State again. Just give me a national championship once every 4 or 5 years. I'm good with it.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
That's tough. Yeah.
If you said once every other year, yeah, I would take that. But once every 4 or 5 years, nah, I don't know.
If I'm lifting the national championship trophy every 4 years, I have no problem with that. We went from 97 to 2003. You guys went from 2014 to 2024.
Yeah.
So you won 1 in 10 years. I'm going to win 2 in that same amount of time, guaranteed. Oh, I'll take that all day long.
Shane's mad. It does mean something. And the problem with what I see is you're going to see a new generation of football fans where it doesn't mean the same as it did. It's still in our DNA that we hate Michigan. You cross out the M's. All of that's still there. We want to beat them more than anything. It just doesn't have the same effect like you were saying before. You
can't because the whole thing
you don't have to get through Michigan to get to the Rose Bowl. You don't have to get through Michigan to get the Big Ten championship even. You don't have to get through Michigan to get to the playoffs or the postseason game that you want to be in. And vice versa. You can't spoil it for them anymore.
That game's the only game that matters. It was the only game that matters. It's the only game you have to win. If you don't win it, your season's a disappointment. For people like Shane, my question is, if that's the way you feel, then last year was a disappointment. But it can't be because you won a national championship. So you can't have both. Both can't be right. The season can't be a disappointment and a success. So
it still hurts. It still hurts. Like there's a piece of me missing.
Matter the way he's saying, then last year was a disappointment. If you're going to make last year a disappointment, then fine. But if you're going to celebrate a national championship and say the year was a success, then that game can't matter like it did. And that's for both fan bases. And my fan base was the same way. We beat them. It doesn't matter. They won a national championship. Well, no, but we beat them. It doesn't matter. They won a national championship.
Yeah, but it would feel even better if you beat Michigan, then win the national title.
Well, yeah, of course. And it'd feel better if I won the lottery and then I won the lottery 2 weeks later. It doesn't really mean
exactly.
You don't always get what you want. It would have felt great.
You know what I mean? There's still a piece missing. Like
there's 2 pieces missing. It would have felt great if you guys beat Michigan, won the Big Ten, and then won a national championship and were undefeated. But unfortunately, you missed 2 of those things. But it's still a national.
I mean, 3 of those things.
Yeah,
we weren't undefeated. We didn't beat the team up north, and we didn't play for a Big Ten.
Oh yes, right.
But we had Big Joker. We won the national championship.
It's like this is the way I look at Ohio State. Ohio State's goal now for a successful season should be to win a national championship every year. Why? Because I look at Ohio State.
It always is.
But to be a successful season, you can't make it there and be a successful season. You have to win a national championship or it's a disappointment. And the reason I say that is because I see Ohio State now the way I used to look at Alabama. Yep. Winning a Big Ten doesn't mean nothing. Winning 12, 13, 14 games doesn't mean nothing.
Mm-hmm.
For Ohio State, it's win a national championship or your season's a disappointment.
Yes.
Is it fair? No. But Ohio State has done enough the last 30 years to earn that. Michigan, it's just make the playoffs and it's a successful season. We haven't done what Ohio State has done.
I think we have a very divided locker room here, boys.
It sucks to have different standards, but for me, and I always hear Ohio State, well, you can't say that. You can't say it's national championship. You know how hard it is to win it? Yes, I do know how hard it is to win it, but you earn that.
Yep.
There's only 2 or 3 teams. Georgia is like that now. No one cares if Georgia wins the SEC. If Georgia doesn't win a national championship, the season's a failure.
I think that what some people are saying is this is what's different about Ohio State and Michigan. Like if Auburn and Alabama is a rivalry, but it's not the same. It's really not the same as Ohio State and Michigan ever was and never will be. Because there are still like Saban said it best himself. They won that national title. No one even remembered losing to Auburn that year.
Here's a question.
Everyone's going to remember losing to Michigan still. Everyone's going to remember that. And we're still talking about it.
No, they won't.
Was Alabama talking about it afterwards when they won the national title? and lost to
You think
Auburn.
anybody remembers Georgia lost to Alabama in the SEC championship game before they beat them in the final?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Ohio State, Michigan is just, it's different, man. There's a different level of rivalry than all those other games.
We know it because it's right now. In 5 years from now, there might be some people who bring it up, but majority of the people are just going to remember they won a national championship.
I'm with Mike. I'm going to just be honest. I'm straight up with Mike. If you look at other fan bases, nobody's going to bring it up. Only Team Up North fans will, and we're going to laugh at them. Natty. That's all.
I mean, we still laugh because the Natty's obviously more important. It's obvious. And I have said that I'd rather win against Michigan than a Natty.
Russ is so right. That was the
and
worst
I was
loss
wrong
in history, and then we went on to win the Natty.
Listen, there's a lot of things that were said in the past, like Urban Meyer. You have to win your conference to be able to win a national championship.
I'll be right back, fellas.
Back in the day,
I think that was a fake quote.
No, he said it at Florida, but they used to campaign for getting into certain games, and that's what they had to do. Those days are gone now, and it's going to get to 16 and then probably 18 teams. When 18 teams come in, rivalries are dead.
That kick six, we can still talk about that.
Like rivalries are dead. When they get to 18 games,
I mean, because you're going to have 3 loss, maybe even a 4 loss.
And this is the part no Buckeye probably wants to hear. The best thing that happened was you guys lost to Michigan.
Oh, we know that. That was the best thing. Absolutely the best thing that happened. We would not have won a national title without losing to Michigan.
No
chance.
The worst thing
I've ever
completely
changed the demeanor of the team, the coaches, the scheme, everything.
Even this year, you don't want to win the Big Ten. You don't want to sit there for a month.
See, I'm with you. I am with you, Matt, for sure. Oh, yes, we will. Years from now, we will still remember. We won the Natty and still lost one important one. I'm going to remember that. It's not going to come out of my head at all.
You'll never hear me say, oh, we beat you. But I don't care.
Dude, now I'm pissed again. Thanks a lot. I'm supposed to be happy right now. We just have 14 guys drafted, won a national championship, and because I hate losing to Michigan, man.
It doesn't mean nothing. What did it mean?
Kids aren't allowed to go there.
So listen, you hate losing to Michigan. You just said it was because of you lost to Michigan, you won a national championship. You had a better road because you didn't sit there for a month because you lost to Michigan. You probably wouldn't have won the national championship if you didn't lose to Michigan.
Repeat that. We had a better road because
you don't want a month off. I'd rather not play in the Big Ten championship.
We had a month off.
No, you didn't.
We had one less day off than Oregon.
Yeah.
You played how many weeks before Oregon?
We had 21 days off before our playoff game, and they had 22 days off before they played us.
Yep.
There's no difference. Oregon lost to a better team.
Where's Mike? There's no way that math works out.
It is.
Yes, there's 100% chance.
When was the last time you guys played when you guys played Michigan?
Huh?
It was November 23rd, wasn't it?
It was the week before.
Go ahead. It was a week before the Big Ten championship game. Oh, no, December. No, November.
No, 23rd. He said, when was the last time we played before Team Up North? We played the week before that game.
So they had 25 days off.
We had 21.
If they would have played the 7th?
December 7th?
Yeah, so 25 days. Then you guys played what?
We had 21 days off in between the Team Up North game and when we played Tennessee. So we're not going to be crying and pulling straws over 4 days.
I don't know.
That just shows the naivety of Dan Lanning and that coaching staff.
I would
that
much
they
rather
didn't
play,
use their time properly.
It's just for me, I'd much rather play the home game and then play on New Year's Day than sit there.
Well, you got to also remember this.
So. I love this if I can. Taco Hut. Scum didn't help us win the Natty. I don't give them credit
Taco,
for anything.
Man. I love Taco.
I love it. That's awesome.
So here's the thing for me. We had to play Tennessee, who had this gauntlet of defensive line talent, which they did. They had a great running game in Dylan Sampson. And then they had a young quarterback. with a lot of upside that could run, and nobody knew he was that tough. We had all guards. We were rotating the O-line for the first time. I never heard of anybody rotating the offensive line, and we destroyed them.
We
Then
did it all in
to-
20. We did the same thing in 23. We rotated the offensive line and defensive line like it was hockey shifts.
Yeah, you guys did. We've never done that.
That's the best thing. If you can do that, that's such an advantage.
But you have to have the dudes to do it.
But we were forced to do that. That was never the game plan. You guys came in with that game play.
But that's
all it does is help. This is another thing. Hey, since we're on this topic, there is one thing I can complain about with the way Ryan Day runs his team. You got to get reps to these backups, especially at quarterback. Like these guys should be.
I think he learned that.
Yeah, but you guys had a lot of guys. You guys had a lot of guys last year get reps because of the blowout.
Not at quarterback. Devin Brown was getting all the reps, and they knew he was transferring too in the Tennessee game. Like, why? Why didn't Keenholz get some reps in that Tennessee game?
Because they were basically saluting Devin Brown for his commitment to stay. He started,
and that's a bunch of bullshit.
See,
that doesn't
I
help
agree with Mel. That's the problem.
But that's a part of the culture. That's the culture. That's why.
If you
right now
he already transferred out.
We have zero scholarship athletes that hit the portal.
That's
the
the
culture
problem
has been
with
set.
the calendar.
The calendar does suck.
But you gotta have your backups have the experience in a big game like that, in a playoff game, to get some work done so that you know what they're going to do the next year, where you don't have to go into a spring game.
You're not worried about the next year.
We got to give them live fire.
You're just
I mean, that's what's helping us. That's what's helping us on the offensive line.
Yeah, but when you're
the fact that we had to get guys hurt to get a rotation, to get those guys in and get some experience.
There's no way they was thinking.
If those guys wouldn't have got hurt, our offensive line would be
these guys because we have to play Texas week 1. They's thinking, let me play this guy in case this guy gets hurt and he has to play next week or 3 weeks from now. That's
no, I'm just saying it's just there's a developmental process that needs to go on a little bit more.
Yeah, during the regular season,
we're going to continue rotating. He learned his lesson from last year, and you're going to see them rotating the whole year.
It's not just rotating either. You got to get your backups more reps when you're
he's
blowing
going
teams
to.
out.
And it's also going to show and help in the recruiting process.
I
Because
love
if you
when-
think about it, all those guys that went to Oregon outside of just the Nike money, they knew they're going to get their pathway to the field was much quicker and much easier.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to rotate so that way, hey, look, you're still going to get your pathway to the field. You might not be starting, but you're going to get snaps, meaningful snaps, and you're still going to develop with the best coaching staff in the country. Right here, you don't have to go all the way over there just to play and develop and compete for a natty. You could do it right
when you
here.
start breaking down their time for NFL scouts and stuff, it's a lot less tread on the tire. When you're looking at these guys, when instead of playing 55, 60 snaps a game, you're only getting 30, 25. That's huge.
Lincoln was only allowed to run 5 plays against Missouri. And later on, if you go back and watch that game, they started to let him pass, and he actually did decent. They just didn't let him pass when he first came in.
But did you know they only practiced 3 times for the Missouri game? They didn't even care. They were already thinking about reloading for next year and making a run.
Oh, no, I didn't know that, but it was obvious that they didn't care.
People need to stop getting this idea that these bowl games matter and these teams care.
No,
when
they
you're
don't. If you're
Ohio
in the
State,
playoffs, especially
if you're
with these
Ohio
teams.
State and you got to play, I don't care what bowl it is, and it's not a playoff bowl, you don't care. It's the same with Alabama, except for this year, because this year was Alabama was supposed to do with Michigan, what Georgia did to Florida State, to keep the SEC narrative alive that they're better and they deserve to be in.
Yep.
That's why no one opted out of Alabama.
Yep.
They were supposed to do to Michigan what Georgia did to Florida State. Because when Georgia did it to Florida State, everybody was, Georgia should have been in the playoff. They got it wrong. They should have been in over Texas or Washington. Look how good they are. They just blew out a Florida State team that had, I think literally the guy who drove the bus was playing quarterback because everybody opted out. And they won by 70 points. But then Georgia's coach comes out and he's like, this isn't even the same team. that played in the regular season. But the narrative was there because you had the SEC commissioner right away. Oh, they belong. They should be in. They should be in. Look at this year.
And honestly, that's what he should do. That's his job.
Yeah. But look at this year. How fast did he have to be quiet? All you heard about was Alabama deserves to be in. Indiana should have been out. South Carolina deserves to be in. Indiana deserves to be out. None of these teams belong. Then Alabama and Indiana both lost. When was the last time you seen the SEC commissioner talking? You don't.
And that's exactly why I don't want automatic qualifiers. That
Unless
makes
Ohio
no sense.
State's there.
No, I don't want conferences to get an automatic qualifier.
It should be
because if they're good enough, they should be getting in.
I would like it if
yes, I'll give that.
If you win your conference, you in, but there should be no automatic seeds.
That part,
correct?
Because then you save. If you win your conference, you're in. Then the conference championship games still mean anything. All of it is now is like college basketball. No one cares about if you win the Big Ten. No one cares if that Michigan won the Big Ten tournament and Michigan State
Conference
won.
championships are dead too.
They don't mean nothing. It's like
the only way you do it is if you get seeded by that and you have more of a conference kind of playoff, like 3 and 4 play each other, 1 and 2 play each other, and then you get your seed based on that.
No, I just like it. You win your conference, you win on the field, you win your conference, you get an automatic place, but then it's seeded because Arizona State won their conference. Should they have been in the playoff? Probably not. They had 3 losses? They shouldn't have been in, but they won their conference. So you put them in.
Yeah,
they should have beat Texas
and put them at 14.
Yeah, put them where they belong.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone agrees with that now. I mean, we had 1 year of.
But Oregon's reward for winning the number 1 seed was playing the second best team in the country.
The best team. The best team in the country.
No, I think you guys were to beat them anyways, and I picked you guys to beat them in a blowout. But Oregon shouldn't have had to face you guys until the final. But that was the reward. Was here, you guys just number 1 seed, and because the way it played out, you guys get to play Ohio State, and Penn State's playing the School of the Blind. who they lost to you guys. They lost to Oregon, but then here you get an easier road to the final than Oregon, the team that beat you in the championship game.
That was
and
hilarious.
Penn State
Drew
played
Aller
2.
threw that game, threw the Notre Dame game away, bro.
Like if I'm Penn State, I would have sent Oregon a Christmas card after the selection show. Thank you for beating us in the Big Ten championship. Here's some Christmas cookies and a thing. We really appreciate it. Even Notre Dame, a 5th seed is a better seed than a 1 seed. That's crazy.
Yeah, that whole side of the bracket was just the bracket itself was just so unbalanced.
Garbage. Yeah.
But shout out to the Buckeyes for what they did, all double-digit wins. And the only reason the Texas game was so close is self-inflicted wounds.
Yep. I think it was
you can't have
7
automatic
possessions they had killed by flags. 7.
Because what do you guys beat? You guys beat 5 top 5 teams last year?
We beat Indiana, Penn State, Tennessee, Oregon, Notre Dame, and Texas. 6.
And ourselves in the Michigan
Yeah, but
game.
Tennessee, no, top 5.
7.
Top 5. Tennessee wasn't top 5.
Oh.
You said top 10.
No, top 5.
Yeah, they were 5.
And we beat ourselves.
So then we beat 5 top 5 teams and 6 top 10 teams, which neither one has ever been done before.
And no one's ever won a national championship with 2 losses, but we're not going to talk about that.
Soft bench.
Hey, Natty, respect the Kings, baby.
or no one's ever won a national championship and lost a game as a 21-point favorite. But there was a lot of firsts last year. There was a lot of firsts. So you got to give credit where credit's due. No, that's an amazing run. 5 top.
Doug, I am 100% right. Trust me, they're rotating.
They're definitely rotating on. They're definitely rotating on offensive line. And
they're rotating everywhere except for quarterback, unless it's a blowout.
They did say that, and they've been doing it in practice. But they've also said that that's something that they've always done in practice, having an A and a B position. There are some guys that aren't going to play. like Ethan Oniawa, he's playing tackle. There's no other position he's playing. He's staying there. And I'm trying to think. But everyone else, and Ryan Day even said it, like you don't want to have to just plug your 8th guy in just because he plays tackle and tackle only when a guard goes out.
Better.
I think you're going to see
you got to have your 6th man coming in on the offensive line.
I think you're going to see a lot of that too with Michigan on defense, where you're going to see a lot of rotation because of some of the guys they brought in the portal, like Payne and Williams. You're going to see a lot of rotation on defense, like you've seen in 23, which should be good because you're going to see a lot of nice matchups when Ohio State and Michigan play.
Who should we be watching for?
I don't know what this is. Is this someone else?
Steve, tell them about the time we had.
I think somebody.
It was great. Yeah, I think so too. Great time.
What was that, Melo?
Just can you tell me who you expect to be elite on the defensive line for you guys?
Oh. Rashad Betty's going to be good.
Rashad Betty?
Yeah. Let me see. Let me bring up the actual defense. I got it here. I like TJ Guy. He played a lot last year. Derek Moore. Jashawn Betty's going to be good. Ernest Hausman's going to be good. No, he won't play. Dominic Nichols, I like.
That's actually pretty good.
The transfer from Clemson, Williams, the transfer from Georgia, Payne. I think both of them are going to be good.
From where? Georgia?
One's from, I think, Georgia, and one's from Clemson.
The one from Georgia is trashy.
He looked good at the spring game. He looked like he had.
Yeah, but he was going against your O-line. I don't think your O-line's that good.
The O-line has question marks. I'll tell you that. There's 3 guys I could see starting, and the rest I don't know what they're going to do.
Who's starting at quarterback?
If it was me,
yeah,
I would start Mikey Keene. But
okay,
I'm not the coach.
Why?
Yeah, that's a good, interesting. Yeah, why? I want to know that too.
Experience and the schedule's so front loaded. I think
that's a lot of times the right play.
It's almost like what they did with Trevor Lawrence, where Trevor Lawrence didn't start the first year, but by the 3rd or 4th week, he took the job.
I like that.
I would almost do the same where we're going to give it to the experienced guy, but it's up to you to take it now. And at some point, if you're going to be the guy, then be the guy.
I like that. This is my hot take. All right. This is a real hot take. I think Ohio State's going to do the opposite.
What do you mean?
They're going to end up with saying starting, and they're going to flip it to Keen Holtz by the 3rd game of the season.
You don't want that because that means you would have lost the game.
Yeah, we're going to lose to Texas with saying because of turnovers.
You really believe that?
That's just, I believe it. Yeah.
Nah.
I can't see you guys losing to Texas. I'm sorry.
If Sayin loses the starting job, Tavian St. Clair is coming in. Julian Sayin is going to be the starter. And I'm going to tell you right now, the competition hasn't been really as close as they're making it out to be.
So is this whole Kehoe's – that was going to ask you right now. Is this for real? Like this quarterback battle, or is it just it's saying they're just making it look like it's a quarterback battle?
No, it's a real battle. It's absolutely a real battle. If you go watch them in the spring practices and you watch how Keen Holtz can run the ball when there's pressure, it's a lot different story than having no defensive stunts and having all day long to throw. When you throw under pressure is what makes you a good quarterback. There was 0 pressure. Go back and watch that spring game. 0 pressure. Now, that doesn't make up for the fact that Keen Holtz missed some wide open dudes. But again, you're fighting for your position in front of 40,000 people. Your adrenaline's pumping.
See, I find this interesting because now
you're going to overthrow some balls.
Close, but Steve's saying it sounds like it's neck and neck.
Yeah, that's if you watch the spring game, it's completely over. But go back and watch the spring game and see how many times saying the problem with saying is when he's pressured, he makes mistakes. That's why they put him back in the 2-minute. Look, you got to read the tea leaves. Who came out with the team in the very front of the line with all the captains? Keen Holtz. Who got the first snaps? Keen Holtz. Who got the first snaps at half? Keen Holtz. But then they put Sang in for that 2-minute drive. And I was like, oh, because Day's seeing the same thing that everyone else saw the spring game. Like, dude's lighting it up. Let's see how he does in 2-minute. Put some pressure on him.
So let me ask you this. Do you think Devin Brown transferred because he thought Keen Host was going to beat him out?
No.
Okay. Do you think
agree.
Aaron Nolan transferred because he thought Keen Host was going to beat him out?
I think Aaron Nolan transferred because everyone was better than him.
So this is where I'm at. They've had a whole year to watch them, right? A whole year of practice. All last year, all you heard about was Julian Sain. Last year, Julian Sain had jumped Keen Host in a depth chart already. When the Bullets were live in front of an audience, it wasn't even close. Julian outperformed them. So what I would say is I think Julian has a significant lead on Keen Host. And, of course, Ryan Day is going to say, and granted, yes, you've been to practices, so I can't say what you saw is what you saw. But, of course, Ryan Day is going to say it's a competition because then you're down to Julian Sain and Tavian St. Clair and nobody else. So you actually need Keen Host just in case Sain gets hurt. Sain doesn't get hurt. I think he's the starter from the beginning to the end. If Sain, and this is where I'm going to go with my hot take, if they move on from Sain, I think TSC jumps Keen Host and is going to be the quarterback. That's just what I think.
If they move on for Sain, I think things went really bad. And yeah, I would agree with Mello that you would have to go with whoever's going to give you that boost.
But with that being said, I think we're going to beat Texas because our secondary, they're not throwing on us. The linebackers are ridiculous.
Yeah,
you got that.
Dude, our defense is a lot better than people believe, and we didn't pick up any DTs.
The hell out of Arch Manning.
Yeah, we didn't pick up any defensive tackles. It's in the portal, which is
a race to 20 for Ohio State. If Ohio State gets to 21 points, I think every game's done.
I think the offense is going to be better than last year. At least
the running game. The running game is going to be ridiculously good, and we have the wide receivers that if you could get a quarterback to just throw the ball in the air, they're going to catch it even in coverage.
That's Julian Sain, and from what I heard, I'm not going to say any names. I'll tell you offline if you want. But what I heard is the offense is going to be better than last year's. And this is coming from someone that Ohio State wants badly on their team.
Yeah.
I heard running the back. That's what I heard. I heard they need to find a replacement for Jack Sawyer on the end.
Well, then they just get him from that kid from North Carolina.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
And Kenyatta is going to be a double-digit sack guy. Is going to look more like the traditional edge rushers that you're used to seeing. And it's going to spell a lot of trouble for everybody else. I'm telling you. Just get your popcorn. If they stay healthy, don't be surprised if it's another run.
Oh, it's going to be a good team. They have all the talent in the world. It's just putting the experience in place that they don't have from last year.
I hate when people say I hate that don't be surprised. If anybody's surprised if Ohio State's that good again, I don't understand why they would be surprised.
Well, us three won't be surprised, but there's a lot of Team Up North podcasters and UGA podcasters and everybody else that are doubting that it could come back. There's Josh Pate also out there that's kind of doubting the team a little bit. There's some big media guys that think we're going to be taking a step back, but they really don't know. That's what
I'll be honest.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't
be surprised.
At least with some of the bigger guys, the only thing I can guess is that's more about clicks than actually believing. Because
sometimes it is, yeah.
If you just look at the roster, you're like, well, this guy's going to be good. This guy's going to be good. This team's going to be really good. The only question mark is how good's the quarterback going to be when it's an actual game?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what we need to see. We need to see these guys under fire. You can't see it in
practice because you know they're not going to get hit. In the spring game, there was no blitzes. And you're going to play teams that are going to play NFL-style defenses. And can the quarterback read the defense? Because that's a big part of it too.
Yeah. And this is another reason why I don't think it's that close, because of what you just said, Mike. Last year, Ryan Day said Julian Sayin is a savant. He said he's never had a quarterback as smart as him ever. And we had C.J. Stroud. He had Dwayne Haskins. He had Justin Fields. He said nobody could touch him in terms of his intelligence. And if you listen to Heartline, when they asked him at the spring game about each quarterback and what's Julian's superpower, and he said pre-snap, he knows what the defense is already doing before the ball's even snapped. I don't think the competition is really that close. I'm just
that's what a lot of them said about Underwood too. For 17, they're surprised how fast he can read a defense.
Yeah.
But he puts in, and I thought it was all like, I didn't believe it when you kind of read these reports, but then you start hearing players say it like, yeah, like he's there hours before everybody and he's leaving hours before everybody. He watches film. Like one guy actually compared it to like he's like Brady, where that's all he does.
Yeah. And
that's what you want to hear. That's what you want to hear about these quarterbacks. Those are the successful guys.
Well, Julian Sayin's been doing that since middle school. He's been because of his trainer. He had C.J. Stroud's trainer since he was little, because they're out in the same area, and he was dissecting his opponents, the whole entire game plan. That's why when he came into Ohio State, he already knew almost, I think they said like 50% of the playbook. He could draw up the plays on the board immediately.
Because I remember Brady, that's what he said his superpower was. He just watched tape and understood more than anybody else.
He knew the telltales. You ever hear how he was talking about how he knew when Ed Reed was going to blitz?
Yeah.
Like he was like, it was just one little subtle thing. And he knew that for everybody. Yeah.
His foot. If he moved his foot a certain way, he knew he was going to drop back a certain way.
Yep.
And he knew Underwood wide open.
Did Underwood look fat?
No, not at all.
All right.
He didn't have his beer belly.
He's a big boy. For 17, that picture, it had to have been the way he was bending back to catch the ball with one hand.
Yeah.
He walked by me in the tunnel. He didn't look like that. He didn't look like no unfit, not ready to play football.
I mean, it could have been an altered photo too. You never know.
Why would they do that though? You know, Tyler Lewan and whatever.
If they got it from somewhere, you know, and they just
it was from their film when they went to the
was it?
Okay.
North.
Yeah.
It was the way he was bending back, I think, because he didn't look like that in that tunnel.
Mike, next time you're around him, I need you to ask him one question. Be like, why didn't you go to the Elite 11 finals? Was it because you got cooked at the Elite 11 Vegas by TSC and you were ducking?
I would ask him that, but I like having credentials. So I'm just not
I'm just joking, man. It was joking.
I don't need. But if I happen to get to know,
you could ask if there's a reason.
Maybe I can ask him for
you can say, is there a reason why you didn't go to the 11? Yeah. Elite 11.
Yeah, why did you miss the Elite 11 finals?
I'll ask him. You know what, though? With those two, it should be a fun 3 years.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know, because if Bryce starts now, we have Julian, probably 2 years, right? So if Bryce starts now, we only get 1 year of them.
Yeah, but you never know, because if St. Clair's everything people think he is, you don't think he's going to take the starting job by next year?
I don't know, man. It's going to be a battle.
Dude, he could.
Because if you go
He's
watch Julian Sayin, and I know they just did this with Dante Moore today, and it was the most absurd thing. They compared Dante Moore to Aaron Rodgers. Their throwing motions nothing alike. But Julian and Aaron Rodgers are just alike in terms of their arm angles and the flick of the wrist, not the same size or body length, but in terms of arm talent, is the same. Tavian has arm talent as well, though, and he's big and he's fast. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be basically who could read and dissect the defense better. And right now,
because now you're starting to see a lot of these Big Ten teams bring in NFL guys.
Yeah,
and I like it.
Yeah.
I like having, because even I hate because it's an Ohio State podcast, but that was Michigan's advantage in 23. Is that there were so many moving pieces to that defense. Because even after the game, Nick Saban said it. That defense you can't read that defense. You had guys moving all over the place.
Yeah, because they knew where the play was going.
He was gone 12 weeks before that. Can you stop?
That doesn't
All
matter.
you told me was
They didn't change their signs.
Buckeyes. For 6 weeks, this is the only reason you won. This is the only reason you won. We're going to kill you. We're going to kill you. We're going to kill you. We lose, you cheated.
We should have. No,
you
this
talking
year.
about 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, you did cheat, but
ago.
I won't say that's the reason we lost. We lost because Donnie tripped over Seth's ankle. We lost because a bad throw on a slant that the ball should have never been thrown.
You had two offensive linemen staring at the sun.
We lost because
the last play.
Will Johnson got cooked and he tackled Marv before he could get away. Marv still made the catch.
It's always an excuse. You lost because you lost.
We lost because you made more plays, bro.
Because you lost because you lost.
We lost because we made less plays. That's why we lost.
But also, you had a generational Michigan team, and Ohio State played you better than anyone else that whole year.
What's that?
At your home, Ohio State played you better than anyone else the entire year. Lost by what? We lose by 3?
No, 6.
It was 3.
Yeah, at your house.
6.
That's like a pick.
No, it was 3.
No, it was last year
because they were gonna.
6 was the year before because we kicked the field goal to make you have to go for a touchdown. I think it was.
Oh,
it was
maybe
one
that was
possession,
true.
whichever it was.
Yeah, it was one possession. Yeah, you're probably. I think you are.
Listen,
right.
at the end of the day, whoever won that game was going to win the national championship.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with that 100%. And if we win that game and we win the Natty, then I don't think we win the Natty this year because I think none of those guys stay.
No, 100%. They would have no reason to stay. Michigan was built on senior talent coming back because they got paid. Ohio State last year was built on senior talent coming back because they got paid.
Nah, they did. They came. Yeah, they got paid, but they also didn't do anything. They hadn't accomplished anything.
Penn State is kind of built the same way. The only problem is I don't think they have as much talent as the 23 Michigan team did and the 24 Ohio State team.
I agree. What do you think about that wide receiver they got from Syracuse?
That was a good pickup. They needed it. No.
I don't know anything about him. I'm not even going to lie. That's why I'm asking you guys.
The problem with Penn State is I don't think Drew Aller's that good.
I agree that.
I don't think he throws a nice ball. Like some of the throws, he kind of reminds me.
I really don't think he has any receivers.
He
to
throws
throw
a deep
nice
ball,
to.
and you can have a coffee, sit there, go get a cigarette, smoke a cigarette, and then catch the ball. Like it doesn't have that zip. Like when you look at some of these quarterbacks who throw a deep ball, it's on the money, it's fast. His kind of seemed to float. And he plays for James Franklin, who's won 3 games against top 5 teams. Like it's just.
But they got Jim Knowles.
Yeah, Jim Knowles.
They already had a good defense.
Jim Knowles is probably looking at Ohio State right now, going, "What was I doing? What was I thinking?"
He wasn't a good fit culturally.
With that Penn State transfer, though, it doesn't matter if he was good or not. They just need bodies. They need wide receivers. They
did the same. They had that same strategy when they took Julian Fleming. That didn't work out.
But
that's what I want to know.
I think Julian Fleming didn't produce. This Pena, he produced.
Penn State's going to be really good defensively. People who don't think they're going to be a top 5 unit defensively, I think.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Offensively,
why did everyone
run the
Syracuse?
ball. They're going to be able to run the ball. The problem with them is if Drew Aller can't complete passes, you can't run the ball against 7-man boxes.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Do you think they're going to be able to run the ball?
I think if he can, he almost has to play like JJ did in 23, where it's not about a 20, 30, 40-yard pass.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be like JJ was, 80% from 8 to 20 yards to keep people on it. You don't have to complete the 20, 30-yard passes.
I think
when you throw that 10, 12, 15-yard pass, you better be completing it at 90%.
But do you think their offense
bad mistakes at big times?
Do you think Kolinicki's offense is designed to do that?
Not necessarily.
He's going to have to, because if you can't, at the end of the day, you can't coach the team you want. You have to coach the team you have.
Yeah, but I mean, that takes elite coaching to do something like that. Do you think that they have that?
Defensively, I like Knowles. Offensively, I don't know.
But they never had a defensive issue. They've always had elite defenses.
Yep, it was top 5.
I don't know. He was there, what, 1 year? Last year was his first year?
Who?
Tom Allen?
Cole Mickey.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
So year 2, you would think that he should be able to at least adjust to what you know what Drew Aller is. I don't think he was never going to live up to the hype he came in with. If I can see it, at least I'm no quarterback guru, and I'm never going to say like, yeah, I know more than these guys, but I don't like the way he throws a pass. If you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing, there's got to be other people seeing the same thing, right? You would think that if you're coaching at that level, that you're seeing this and saying, okay, we can't do this. Let's do this. It's what Michigan did last year for the first 8 games. You coached the team you wanted, not the team you had. You can't do that.
I have zero faith in Drew Aller. I'm going to just tell you that right now, and there's a reason. After that Notre Dame game, like, so what? You threw the interception, right? Okay, cool. We can move on. But you know what he said at the end of the day? It's what he said at the end of the game. He said, I was trying to throw the ball away. He threw the ball across the middle, chest high, inside. How is that you throwing the ball away? I thought James Franklin coached his best game, like they had their best game plan ever in his tenure of being at Penn State, and Drew Aller pissed it away at the end. I just don't trust him, honestly.
I don't think he was throwing the ball away.
That's what he said, though.
He could say whatever he wants. I think he was just saying that. I think he made the wrong read, and he threw it where he threw it. Yeah. And that's the thing I think he's going to have a hard time with, because when he plays you guys now, and you guys playing an NFL style, he's going to have – I don't think he can read a defense like that.
Right.
It's the same thing if you guys end up playing Oregon, because I know they're not on your schedule.
No.
It's when you play an NFL-style defense, it's hard for guys who've never coached against it.
See, he did throw it away
to the other team.
Like, it's hard to explain. Like, when you see the way the moving pieces work, it's hard if you're not see that all the time to coach against it.
Yeah.
Especially because there's not too many teams that have the talent to play it. You got to have a lot of smart guys, because there's a lot of communication involved. There's a lot of moving parts. There's guys that are supposed to be covering deep that end up blitzing, where other guys who should be blitzing end up covering deep. Like, there's a lot going on. And if you don't
where's your Michigan shit background?
What's that?
You're not even proud to be a fan.
What do you mean?
Would you be?
Yeah, no.
I love Michigan.
Man, you don't want to wear that coward in blue background.
It's baseball season right now. My Tigers are in first place.
First place of what?
The division.
What's going to happen when they play a real team?
Like who?
Like the Reds.
Like
them.
Oh, we have no problem with you guys. How was the playoffs those couple years you played us? What were you guys up? 3-0?
I don't know. We was in the World Series last time I checked. We just lost to a better team in the Dodgers.
Well, yeah, that's because Steinbrenner died, and your new owner doesn't like to spend money like the Dodgers.
But I mean, he spent money. We had Juan Soto for a year,
and now he's across the river.
Man, you gonna spend that kind of money on Juan Soto? You know what kind of contract he got?
Baseball needs a salary cap. This is getting ridiculous.
No, what needs to happen is parents need to take their kids out of football and put them in baseball so they can get that money.
I tell my son all the time, he wants to throw a ball. I tie his right hand behind his back. You're only throwing left. You can go 2-6 and make $100 million.
Yeah.
I teach my son to be a kicker.
That's a good one too.
I just need him to throw a baseball. 2-6, you can make $100 million a year.
Yeah.
Just throw left-handed.
So how's the high school football standards in the state of Michigan?
From what I see, because I don't live in Michigan, I live outside of Michigan.
You at?
I live in Canada.
Canada?
Yeah.
What part?
Windsor. It's like a suburb of Detroit.
Okay, so you're right there. See, I used to party a lot in Canada when I was in the military.
Okay.
In Kingston.
I used to party a lot in Canada when I was 18.
Love Canada. I'm not gonna lie. I do.
Yeah, like most people don't like. So Windsor and Detroit would be like if you go to Columbus and you're 2 minutes outside of Columbus. So like the best way. Did you watch the NFL draft last year?
Yeah.
Okay, that's 7 minutes from my house.
Oh wow.
It's like San Diego and Tijuana.
So you might as well just say you're in Michigan.
Yeah, like when I go away, because my wife's American, when we go away and people ask me where I'm from, I just say Detroit. Because I grew up going to Detroit, crossing the border. Like it's normal for us.
Now that's interesting. So you grew up in Canada?
Yeah.
So how'd you become college football so deep into college football?
Because Windsor is very Americanized. So like, okay, for example, like if you live in Windsor, you're either a Red Wings fan or a Maple Leaf fan for hockey. You're a Pistons fan for basketball. You're a Lions fan for football. You're usually a Tiger fan or Blue Jay fan. And then you're either Michigan State, or Ohio State, or a Notre Dame fan. Because you're 4 hours from all those places. And we watch All-American TV.
Okay, got you. So that makes sense then.
So like, it sounds weird. You know how people talk about the 51st state?
Yeah.
Like Donald Trump. The joke is, well, Windsor wouldn't have to worry because they're already the 51st state. Because
what are you talking
we do
about?
everything the American way.
Yeah.
Like I've been going to Michigan games since I was 4. There was people who thought I had to, when I first started doing this, people were like, oh, you fly to Ann Arbor? I'm like, yes, I fly to Ann Arbor. They're like, I'm like, I live 40 minutes away. They're like, you live in Canada. I'm like, yes, I live 40 minutes away.
Yeah. And it's like when you had to explain that there's some parts of Ohio that are actually more north than
we are.
Places. Yeah.
Like for me to go to Detroit, I go north.
Hold on, what? Say that
for me to go to Detroit, I go north.
Wow. Now you making me want to pull up a map.
I'm getting it for you. Because we got to educate some people.
But that's why, because people always ask, like, how are you Canadian, like, follow college football like this? Like, that's all we grew up watching.
You know what's cool, though? Your kids could have dual citizenship.
They do.
And decide to play for whichever national team they want to.
They do have dual.
And to have that option is huge. You have no idea. Trust me, I know as a soccer dad and a baseball dad, it's massive because it forces one of the country's hands. Like, oh, if your kid was on the cusp, it's like we could lose this kid and they're on the cusp and we might be able to push them above the fray.
See, if I was an actual athlete and I tried to be when I was younger, but realized very early that I had no athletic bone in my body, because I was first generation, I actually could have played soccer for Canada or for Italy. But when I realized that I had 6 left feet and I can't really run that fast and can't dribble a soccer ball, that dream went out the window fast. But I definitely get what you're saying.
Because I'm thinking about because my daughter's half Italian, so we're thinking about let her go play for the Italian national team, but she still wants to be on the U.S. national team, so I'll let her chase her dreams and leave that up to her.
You know what's great for your daughter is that all these European leagues now have started women's leagues.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and NWSL in America.
Like
Trinity Rodman is a beast.
Like it's getting women's soccer in Europe's getting huge right now.
Yeah,
huge, and that's awesome to see for the girls.
So we got 2 friends. They're playing in Serie A in Italy.
Okay.
Yeah. So and they're monsters, bro. Tori and Talia Della Puerta.
What teams?
What team was Tori on? She was on AC Roma.
Milan.
She was on Milan too, but she went to Roma, and then I think she's at a smaller club. I could look right now.
That's awesome.
She's on a smaller club now, but she's on the actual national team. Her sister plays on the U.S. national team. So Tori, when she went to the U.S. national camp, she's real alpha, right? And girls are not like dudes. There's no like, all right, we could go hard at each other, then we just kicking it. They go hard at each other, and then they like, I hate you off the field, right?
So they hold a grudge.
Yeah. So Tori is more like a Raptor truck, right? She's gonna come at you, she's gonna hit you, she's gonna lean on the center backs, and she's gonna spin off of you because she's big, strong, and fast, and she's very technical. So by the time you're the end of the first and the second half, you're worn out. So now she's just getting free runs behind you and scoring goals at will. Nasty.
So
but
she's like a
trash to you.
She's like a what's his name? Lukaku. Where she's gonna keep running.
Lukaku had, I call him Timberland boot because his first touch is awful. This girl's first touch is legit. But yeah, similar type of build and style of play, right?
Where she's just gonna beat you up to the end of the game where then you have nothing left.
And she's technical with it. Lukaku, like for a lower level, yes, he's technical. But when he was at Manchester United, I remember watching him one time. Pogba sent him a beautiful ball into him. And his first touch, he was just outside the 18. His first touch, I swear to you, I'm not even joking. I will never forget this. Went back to midfield.
You know what Steve's thinking right now? How did the Buckeye backers just turn into steady-ass soccer breakdown of women's soccer?
Listen, let me tell you, man.
How do I get off here? How do I nicely get off of here? I'm on a football podcast talking soccer, and I'm about to lose my damn mind.
You never thought a Canadian and American would start breaking down steady-ass soccer and like.
No, I almost went to sleep. No,
she plays for ACF Fiorentina now.
Oh, Fiorentina? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
She was with AC Milan, her and her sister.
That's the best player the men's team ever had, Gabriel Batistuta.
Yep.
Yes.
You know him?
This guy. Substantial Brandon? Yes, he's awesome.
Oh.
No more footy.
They're going to start the Buckeye backers.
This is going downhill fast. Yes, I'm with everyone. I'm asleep on here. Like I'm legitimately falling asleep. Sorry, all right, we got to get out of here. Hey, we're already 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours into the show.
I'm about to get in my soccer bag. Man. I get excited for soccer for real.
Dano's commercial, and then we're gonna get out of here, brother.
All right. Man, Mike, it was nice to meet you, man. I hope we could do some more content. You already know, Steve. We consider you family.
Yeah.
Hey, stay on. Stay on.
You're on.
You stay on for a second.
Alex?
No. He's on with Dev. It's Buckeye Boys.
Yeah, the Buckeye Boys.
You know what?
Shout out to Buckeye
Boys. I haven't seen it, but Steve, send me the link, and I'll definitely follow and like it.
Yeah, every Friday or every other Friday, but we might go to every Friday. Pop's Pod is Duke, Petty John, and Daniel Sanchez. So Riley is was the number one linebacker in the 25 class, and then Devin was the number one cornerback in the 25 class. They both were at Ohio State right now, and their dads do a Pops Pod where they talk to parents and to players about recruiting, the pitfalls and how to avoid them, and they basically guide you. They helped me tremendously with my daughter's recruitment, to be honest with you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I love listening to people who are honest. I can't do that anymore with every fan base. It's not always gravy.
Right.
There's ups and downs, and you guys got to be honest. Yeah. I like listening to that kind of stuff.
So for me, I think our weakness is just and this is why we have to rotate, is because the depth on the D line. That's the only thing that could hurt us. If we would have knocked out the park with the D line transfer portal, I would be up here bullish. Like, yeah, we're definitely running back to back. Do I think we can? Yes. I think I'm at a 90% that we can, but I need to see how the D line performs. It's not even so much the quarterbacks for me. It's really the depth on that D line.
And it's the depth. Yeah, it's not the starters, because those
the starters are going to be elite.
Easy. Yeah, it's what Jason Moore does.
Taiwan Malone.
Taiwan Malone. And I think Taiwan Malone and Jason Moore are coming on. It's just we got to see it in live action.
Right. They got to prove it, man. They got to take their knocks. And we got to see if they can hold up.
We're going to end this show. Peace out. God bless everyone. You two stay on for a second. Don't jump off. And I'm going to talk to you for just a second. All right. Peace out.